Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode by Outback by Night. This is a Red Center by Night recap episode of episode 6. Let's start off the introductions first, starting with.
Hi, I'm Adam, and I play Charlie, the Banu Hakim from the Camarilla Coterie.
I'm Evie, and I play Dr. Yue from the Second Inquisition. I am a equation consultant.
Hi, I'm Izzy, and I play Delilah the Toreador from the Camarilla Coterie.
Hi, I'm Kai, and I play Maxie of the Ventrue of the Camarilla Coterie.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I play Mr. Winters of various backgrounds.
Various backgrounds.
Accurate.
You two-faced bastards.
What have you heard?
And I am Rena. I am playing as 8, also the storyteller of this chronicle. I have just delivered emotional damage in one go. But yes, let's start off this recap with at least giving a short description of what happened, or at least a summary of what happened with the Camarilla.
Oh god, who wants to take the wheel on this one?
There's 3 of you.
There's 3 of us! Okay,
we can only speak one word at a time.
Oh god.
We can do it around. Well, the first half an hour of the campaign of that session is very hard to explain. The more whimsical music that was chosen for the background music, incredibly appropriate. We fed Jeff to Charlie.
Oh god.
Which was a wonderful conversation we had off camera. And I felt so bad for Lou as we all just sort of looked at him and went, "Your dinner."
I believe there's a direct quote from Rena in that first 10 minutes, which is, "Are you still talking about fucking?"
Oh my god.
Which I won't explain. That happened.
We don't need any context. Right? But oh my! When I rewatched all the episodes, I made dot points, and the Camarilla episode really ended up going from about a 3 to a 7 or an 8 very, very quickly. When Charlie woke up, and it was interesting. And Charlie does this a lot, because Charlie woke up and Maxie pretty much went, "Yeah, you need to explain everything. There is I recovered you dying. You're dying. I have a bleeding kindred in my storage room. You need to explain yourself." And Charlie just threw down the Uno reverse card.
Yeah. There's exactly one member of our coterie who has any moral high ground on that front, and it's not Maxie or Charlie.
No.
One of the main reasons I wanted to be in this particular recap is because this episode was, in a large part, the Maxie backstory episode. And Maxie spilled quite a bit of the beans to Jen and Charlie about, well, mostly what they were up to. Talked about their relationship and their history with Nine, because Nine has fingers in every pie. This little brat. This very helpful little brat. And we're going to get into Nine when it comes to the Bahari episode, because what the fuck? No, sorry, the Second Inquisition episode, because what the hell? Maxie kind of delved into their sire a little bit. We found out that the Roadhouse... because of Jeff, Jen found out that the Roadhouse had been burned down. I have no idea how that happened. So we managed to cross that off of our clue list, which was nice. Starting to narrow shit down. And then this is entirely the Maxie-centric stuff, considering Maxie is who I play. My favorite moment in the entire chronicle so far happened, which was Maxie and Nora's heart-to-heart outside the plane, which made me very sad. And it's one of the 2 moments in the entire filming where I genuinely got kind of emotional, because it was really sad.
A lovely callback to earlier. It might have been Jen, or it might have been Delilah. Izzy, maybe you remember. It's one of the early episodes when someone was like, "Yo, you can't do everything yourself." I might have even said it. I think multiple of us said some version of this to you, you're gonna have to be honest about what you're struggling with, because we're working together now.
Yeah, one by one, pretty much every member of the group has said either to Maxie or about Maxie that they can't They can no longer carry this on their own. It's going to crack them. And it cracked them.
Indeed, it did.
And Maxie pledged to Nora that once Delilah returned, Maxie would tell everything. We then got, and I'm going to let Adam take this over, Charlie and Doodlebug.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, God.
buddy. Doodlebug, my adversary. My
Your
nemesis.
best friend.
At one point in this conversation, Charlie got woken up. There's tense conversation, and then eventually we make our way down to the cargo hold where Doodlebug's all tied up. A time bomb waiting to escape, basically. And so in the background, it's like, okay, how much time do I have to actually have a conversation with him before something happens? Because I know that there was this suggestion that maybe we're going to trade Doodlebug for Delilah. That was kind of the operating assumption, or that was the deal that I felt like Maxie was trying to pitch to Charlie.
Yep.
And as soon as we started talking, I was immediately like, Doodlebug has no intentions of leaving this plane. Unless all of us are dead, Doodlebug is not going anywhere. And then it was this roller coaster of Doodlebug explaining that he believed Charlie had something to do with his torture, which obviously Charlie didn't know anything about. And at first, Doodlebug doesn't believe Charlie, and then it's sort of he either eventually believes or just accepts that the reality is not going to change, whether it's true or not. So he just sort of resigns himself. And at some point in all of this, Rena just drops the detail that oh, by the way, Doodlebug has crystal clear hazel eyes you can almost see yourself in, or something like that. And I got immediately parachuted back, core memory unlocked. Some point before we even started filming the Chronicle, Rena sent us this picture, here's a bunch of portraits of inspirations for NPCs. And I was she was like, here's all these people you're going to kill. I was like, joke's on you, they're all too hot. And I was like,
Oh,
here
no,
we
he's
are.
Hot.
Here it comes.
What have I done?
But there was clearly this thing of he said something like, I thought that you were someone who valued honor. That's no way to live. What the Inquisition's going to do, it's just going to be another group who's going to torture me now. I'm not going to die like that, basically. And I was like, oh, okay. And at some point in there, I would it was like, somebody better get Doodlebug's knife. This is very important. I was like, we need his knife. Because part of the one with the blade ritual means that if you're bonded to this blade, it does extra damage to other people, but it does aggravated damage to you. At least that's that's what I've got going in my background. Turns out his knife's even scarier than that. we didn't have to go into the details of that really, but when he eventually breaks his chains and kind of comes at Charlie, Charlie, I stab him and he just dies, just instantly. Doesn't go into torpor, just turns to ash, which is pretty scary.
The mystery of Charlie has really just been this undercurrent for the way I've been looking at him the entire Chronicle, because Jen has been very open about their backstory. Jen has been very open. Yeah, I was essentially sold into slavery. I want to go home. This is where I'm from. Delilah can't be open about her backstory because
Delilah is just as confused as you are about her. So
exactly. Maxie has
Delilah had to pick up backstories from other groups.
Yeah.
For some extent.
Yeah, Delilah's been as confused as we are until this episode.
Until
Just
this episode.
recently.
Meanwhile, Maxie's been lying almost every time they open their mouth about their backstory. Yeah, I don't know how old I am. I don't know this, Maxie's just lying. Meanwhile, Charlie, nothing. Not a word. There's been no opportunity for Charlie to tell any lies because that conversation's never been never been approached. And then we just suddenly have the window of the airplane shattering, and then Charlie's backstory is just suddenly there, in our face.
Mm-hmm.
And I both loved and hated it. I loved it because it was epic and dramatic. I hated it because since we've been neglecting Charlie, zero context.
I mean, we got a little bit in the conversation because Doodlebug
Yeah.
revealed that like Charlie had killed his entire coterie or his
Yes.
a bunch of people close to him during the sect wars.
Yep.
And it was, for me, as a role-playing like exercise, it was a fun opportunity to be both misunderstood and have a chance to like clearly say something Charlie believes to someone who will not believe him. And then at the end of the day, it's like, well, okay, then we'll solve this the way that we agree on solving things, which is one of us dies.
Yeah.
Which feels very, I think, fitting for their and it was really great. Something that I really enjoyed, Rena, was when you brought Nora in to Charlie's room later. It was like, okay, we need to get a bit more on this, and had Nora sort of follow up and be like, was he your friend, or something like that. And then I think I had some notion of what the war was like for Charlie and his relationship with Doodlebug and others who turned, but it was nice to be able to say like, I think when we think about the sect war of Sydney or whatever, it can be easy to think that people in their various sects are doing this fighting because they are like dedicated to a cause or something, or that they care about the people they're with. And I don't know if that was true for either Doodlebug or Charlie, because it's like, this is a person who was my friend, and we just had fundamental disagreements about what was best for the city, about what could work for the city. Like, I think if it was just in a person-to-person situation, they might agree that like neither one of them wants like some corrupt elder deciding what they can and can't do with their lives. But like the Sabbat is a no-go for Charlie. It's like an absolutely, you go there and you're out of the equation. It doesn't matter how corrupt a Camarilla prince is; they will never loom as evil to Charlie as the Sabbat rule of the city would. Yeah, it's like a fun clash of absolutes, which I think makes for fun tension.
I have a question, if you don't mind. If, and like this is slightly retroactive, if at any point Charlie had been asked more questions, would Charlie have told the truth, or would Charlie have just deflected? Like, would Charlie have been more like Jen or more like Maxie? Is essentially what I'm saying.
Definitely more like. That's a good question. I actually think the truth is somewhere in between, because I think my instinct was to say more like Maxie, but I don't think Charlie would lie. I think that he would
more talk about like the situation around it more than what he did.
Or
it would depend.
omitting details?
Yes, yeah. I think Charlie's sin is omission, not of telling a lie. Like I think he would respond to the question, like the way that a good lawyer only asks questions they already know the answer to. A good witness only gives concrete details they're certain will not open a bad flowchart of future questions, right? Because there are a couple of moments in this season where some very specific things Charlie wants to keep secret could have come out and almost did. And I made some choices to not divulge because I thought both Charlie wouldn't in that moment, but also as a role player, I was like, I think there's other things getting explored here and this might derail.
Right.
I don't know about that. You guys all successfully derailed the first part of
it was a rail?
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes, and this is something I'll probably give into a bit more in future episodes, but I can sometimes get the feeling that like someone's business is about to get spilled or someone's thing is coming up. And my impulse as an improviser then is to be like, well, let's pull that thread. Like, let's push that. Let's see what comes out of that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So me as the storyteller, I'm just pulling all your threads all at the same time. See which one unravels.
Yeah.
It's like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which one will unravel this episode? And it's fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of threads, we then all proceeded to do something rather foolish, which Charlie disagreed with. We gave blood to Jeff.
Yeah, nah. Charlie was like, count me out, buddy.
God.
You kidding me?
There's this moment in the there's a connecting thread to it in the Second Inquisition episode where Jeff mentions, oh yeah, no, I had these vials of I got these vials of blank body blood, and Talon, and like no one. I was waiting for this
Big
one.
question.
I was
Oh,
I was
God.
waiting for
I
this
was
one
just
specific question.
waiting.
Yeah, I
Like,
was. Yeah. Sorry, continue, Evie.
Like if honestly, because I'm a bit of a backstory on the US character. She was supposed to be a Tremere back in the days. If I still had a taste for blood, you bet I 110% would have jumped on those bells. But because it didn't make sense for her as a Quasian to kind of be a blood hoarder, that's why I was just like, okay, Talon, can you please just get the blood? But then Talon, being the suspicious person that he is of other people's intentions, he's like, why are you offering me kindred blood? And he just refused to take the bait.
Yeah.
I am honestly like, I am so upset.
I was so tense,
That was-
waiting for Talon to go, whose blood is it? I was so clenched going, this is going to go terribly. I don't want to see the look on all their faces when Jeff goes, yeah, I have a vial of Maxi Seraph's blood. Like, oh, okay.
Well, it's more like nobody takes Jeff seriously. I mean, he was treated like a pug. in
Yeah.
the
That is my favorite line I've said the
In the
entire
same way a
chronicle.
pug is a dog.
It's like Nori just goes, is like are they a kindred? He's a kindred in the same way a pug is still technically a dog. It's like it's my favorite line I've said
Well, it's
all
like-
season.
Like none of us took him seriously, but also like Jeff rolled a lot of dice a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
next to him and I wasn't like scoping his character sheet or anything, but I was like, that's a lot of mass you just dropped on the table next to me
That was
just
a
now.
thunk.
What's going on over there?
It
Oh
was
god. Who
I
said the
felt like-
line? Who said the line? Where did you find it? At the side of the road.
Mhm.
yeah. I said to I said to Jen, yeah, this is Jeff. Like Jen picked him up on the side of the road.
Oh god.
Can we also talk about the like speaking of like not trusting anyone? How about us over trusting Delilah this episode?
Oh, but
Yeah,
nobody
like that- yeah, that's
rolled
my-
well.
That's my next point. Is that literally the next 5 words on my notes are Delilah's a lying little shit.
Anyone want to roll insight? I think at some point one or both of you said.
I ask all of you guys to roll insight on what Delilah's saying, and all of you failed, and
I
nobody
watched it. I
wanted
was
to
like,
willpower.
I think it was like 4. It was like I had 4 to her 5, and I only have 1 blank dice left.
Meanwhile, the most beautiful thing in the world finally happened to me, which is I finally went into compulsion because I bestial failed.
Hmm.
And I have like in my note with going into compulsion on that inside check, Maxie just immediately stopped believing a word out of Delilah's mouth to such a point that they didn't ask any questions. Like the trust because like the trust between Charlie and Maxie had sort of shattered way like at the start of that episode with like talking about Maxie's plans, and Charlie just stops trusting Maxie pretty much immediately. And then Charlie's thing with Doodlebug, like Maxie's trust in Charlie just stopped. Maxie this was an episode of a lot of trust breaking and yet a lot of honesty being done as well, except by, Delilah. Hey, Izzy, you want to give some insight on that?
Look, okay, after
What the fuck?
the little bit of that guest episode kind of absolutely destroyed her trust in Maxie.
How bad?
A little bit, just a tad. So she came ready to square up for a fight.
Oh.
She was like, I ain't gonna tell anything in front of Maxie. That's the thing of like, absolutely not, which sucks. Because me as Izzy is going, oh no, but obviously that's very much how she would see the world of the fact that Maxie's clearly been lying / using her. Don't trust them.
I love like the fact that
Where did you hear
Delilah
It's how curious you would ask that, Winters.
The Baharia, when it comes to like the Baharia, I've so fucking much there. Like I have it written way down in my notes. After the Bahari episode, I have it written in italics. It's just starting to feel spiteful at this point.
I
towards
like
Maxie.
I like the fact that Delilah and Jen had the hug though, shared the hug.
That was lovely.
It's like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jen is the heart of this group,
Yeah.
and like Delilah has latched onto Jen hard, and it's the best.
And speaking of the rest of us fracturing trust, if anything, this was a trust rebuild episode for Jen, who thought that they had been abandoned last
Mm.
episode.
Oh, yeah.
That was the whole gaslighting girl boss 8
Mhm.
business.
Oh,
Ugh,
8. Oh,
Um,
8. Sweet,
Little
sweet,
shit.
lovely 8.
Because like I remember having like Charlie having a conversation with Jen, being like, we wouldn't have just left you, right? Like, and we had to have that check when it's like, you didn't come close to believing that, did you? Or like, did you? I think
Yeah.
it put in perspective for me, like, it's like, because we've all sort of been talking about these characters and stuff and what's going on for a while, but if just from our characters' perspectives, it's been like Jen and Charlie knowing each other for decades, Charlie and Maxie having met once before, but
Mhm.
like the three of us outside of Jen have known each other for a handful of days.
Yeah.
Like
For
nights,
a week,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Week.
like not
Yeah.
long. Of course, our trust
Yeah.
is fragile.
Know what they say, strong bonds come from trauma.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Is that really what they say, Rena?
Certainly, bonds come from trauma.
Absolutely.
Emotional damage makes you stronger. Mm.
Oh, but yeah, we showed up for Jen eventually. We just
Yeah.
had to get out of the situations we were in.
I wonder if people noticed like there was a foreshadowing moment in episode 6 of the Camarilla.
Well, it's kind of hard to notice if you don't know what happens.
Hey, you
next.
feel like sharing it with the class storyteller?
There's a
I
few
didn't-
things
That's a
actually which
solid
I
no.
which I
No,
would
somebody
not talk
tell
about.
me if somebody tell me like if somebody noticed. Like just say the moment and then I'll be like, yes,
I didn't.
that is.
There's a few things, little things that having filmed, having like finished recording season, there's some like accidental things that I when watching this episode was like, oh, that connects to 1 or 2 episodes from now in this way. Okay.
No, 8 apparently saying to Nora, "Welcome home."
That what?
I went very tight. Like, oh, yeah, you mother. I hate 8. We all hate 8. And it's the best.
Which is funny because I vaguely remember kind of being an 8 fan early.
Yeah,
I was like,
I
she seems like a boss. She seems
Yeah.
like unbothered. Yeah.
She was so much
Lawyer
fun.
in a red dress? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maxie genuinely thought I can work with 8. 8 seems reasonable. Like 8's a lawyer. We can kind of work on that front. No, flat out. I have posted I want to throw 8 into a wood chipper, and like that would be great. And then, God, Delilah had her massive premonition. I'm going to get into like the big plot twist of Maxie's backstory, which actually got me a couple of all caps messages and DMs on Discord, which is Maxie revealing that they worked for Pentex. That very briefly, they worked for the Pentex Corporation, and anyone aware of like the World of Darkness lore sort of just froze at that because that's not nothing really came out about that yet. Maxie then revealed like they've been that the reason they travel so much is because they're hunting kindred. Maxie kills kindred. That's a thing.
Mhm.
I support this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember finding it very funny in a kind of like a player way, not in a character way. I mean, like, I would love for Maxie to like very nervously confess that this is what they do to Charlie.
Yeah.
Be like, you want to see my offended face?
It's amazing.
What?
I'm sorry.
Like, okay, good.
Like, yeah, Maxie's show, like, this is the rifle I use, and Charlie just draws the knife and goes, okay.
What you wanna? Who you wanna bet drank more kindred blood?
Yeah, you want to run numbers? Like,
buddy.
how many notches you got on your bedpost? But then Delilah had her premonition, the big vision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go on,
it's-
Izzy. Take it away. You don't get to see her quietly. This was a big episode for you as well.
No, it was just a lot. Well, here's the thing. I don't know how much I can say. Like, besides, the whole thing was just foreshadowing, and I don't know how much I can go into it without it
Okay,
becoming
that's true.
spoiler territory.
All right,
No,
that's
I
fair,
mean,
considering,
I
like-
mean, just explain the premonition.
like the premonition of confirming the fact that the doctor is so fucking sus that it's not even funny anymore. Don't trust the man with the gummy bears. Never trust the man with the gummy bears.
Why not?
Fake news.
Because he works for global warming. But like all of that happening, knowing the fact that he's in line for that, and he basically like also from what Delilah knew, that was an immediate setup for everyone who has come into contact with him. So the realization of how big of a player he was very, very interesting. Then we got the going up the stairs, surrounded by I'm pretty sure it's surrounded by fire, if I remember correctly. I can go grab my notes if you need. And then also the like Elysium moment, which was very, very interesting. And I'm thinking I'm forgetting one more thing. What
It was a chunky premonition.
It was a chunky
You
premonition.
had I have it written in my notes that you had some sort of vision related to the salt mine.
Yeah, it was the salt mine. It was
Yeah.
going into the like
Yeah.
because it was about the salt mine. Like I was trying to focus on it to
Yeah.
be like, what the hell are we gonna be expecting down there?
You had an earlier one about it, right? Earlier in the season where you saw Yue the first time? Am I
Yep.
misremembering? Yeah.
Which was you were back there at the very beginning
Hmm.
and you were being chased by something terrifying, and I went, that's not good.
Because we had
And
a
my
picture. We
opinion
had a
has
picture.
not changed of that place since.
Because we had a picture on a postcard. I think it was this episode where you're like, wait a minute, yes.
Yeah.
I remember her.
I've seen her.
Yeah, I
Memory
met- yeah.
unlocked.
I met this girl. Apparently your nickname is fucking Dee Dee.
Hey, look, it's accurate.
Also, surprisingly, that photo that I use as like prop for like evidence and stuff, well, that was like a candid shot of Evie.
Oh yeah.
She was just minding her own business.
Evie,
Actually stunning.
Evie, I have a question if you don't mind.
Oh yeah.
If because Maxie was just to give would have just given that phone number to Delilah. If in the middle of timeline wise, it would have been in the middle of your episode as well, timeline wise. If Yue's phone had just rang and it was Delilah, how much of an interruption would that have been to like everything? Like, would it have been important enough for you to just turn away from what was happening in your episode, which we're going to get into? Like, would it have been that big of a deal?
Oh God! If I was still driving the mystery machine, I would have just hard brake. Like I would have
Is
just
Yue driving?
Is you like driving?
I would have just like gone down to like Tristan's bunker and then just shut the door.
Oh.
Like screw investigating whatever shadow like is in the depth of the cave. Like my friend is like finally online again.
I'm so sad that Dee Dee and Yue didn't get a chance. Because she would have definitely got, like had a chance to like message and be like, nope, I'm calling you. I'm meeting up with you. Screw this. I wanna see my friend again.
I think at one point I even I even tried to call the number that Maxie gave me, but I think it was busy or like no one picked up.
Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
they were
Like
busy indeed.
We don't get to have nice things.
Yeah,
No,
they
we
were
don't.
indeed busy.
Certainly don't get to keep them.
Oh,
Oh.
oh, it's a lot of.
There's a
things
lot to
that-
unpack in that one.
Oh, it's gonna be for episode 7 to unpack.
Oh yeah.
Roger that.
I
Man.
feel like we'll have quite a lot of people with episode 7.
I think at this point, like considering everything that's happening, each group should get their own recap at the end of episodes. Like
yeah.
because we've each gone through a lot. God. I would have loved it would have been so totally random and not really possible considering like not everyone is at the recording studio at all times, obviously. But like if Delilah had called Yue and Evie had just been able to pop onto the table for like a couple of minutes just for the phone call and then just leave again.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Honestly, I would have loved that.
The
That
problem
would've
was
been
the fact that when
fun part.
Evie,
Yeah.
oh yeah, well, the problem was when Evie or at least Yue was trying to call Delilah. You guys are already somewhere else.
Yes, we were
The
already
number you have called
occupied.
is no longer in service.
The number you have.
Pretty much.
And now Yue is wondering if Maxie gave her the wrong number.
Maxie isn't allowed to fix a single problem.
Once
No.
again, nobody trusts.
Maxie is just banned and barred from helping no matter what they do or what they sacrifice. I have a brand now. I got myself burned trying to help Delilah and then got in trouble for it.
I mean, if you think about it, a brand is pretty appropriate for a Ventru.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Oh my!
Yeah,
I've got scars out the wazoo. Not my first, not my last. It's like but like I love how Maxie tried to help Delilah and then got in trouble from all 3 members of their coterie for it.
All for varying different reasons.
Or
Oh, it was that thing of us
For-
being like the frustration
Yes.
of realize
Oh yeah, Trini, yeah, Nora
That-
can go at me as well.
that the enemy you thought you were fighting is actually at least 2 enemies and possibly 3.
Yep.
Like it was so frustrating because it was like Maxie's mission to go deal for Delilah ultimately was futile because someone else had their eyes on Delilah who was not even like acting with the approval of those people. And then Doodlebug turning up was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So like even though we as players know how this chronicle split up and stuff, it was like
Yeah.
as characters, I was just like that was one of the most frustrating thought loops for Charlie, I think.
Yeah.
When he was just like, oh, this does not make sense. Like I'm thinking about battlefields and enemy priorities and like what enemy does this? Like why would they do this from 2 directions without being efficient? Like I don't understand.
because there's 2 different enemies.
Yeah, that was
You
like
think
the
you're
only
just fighting like one enemy, but turns
Yeah.
out there's like another wild card in here.
which is like the same thing Doodlebug was experiencing. Doodlebug thought the wrong enemy was fighting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were
Bug and Charlie are more alike than they think.
Yeah, I know. And that's what they used to be friends.
Oh.
But
I
you
would
know.
I would love to like delve more into Charlie's backstory going forward. I need to pick this character apart because
Oh, you
he's so
should. You should.
interesting.
Yeah, you'll get your shot.
This was also the episode where all 4 of us looked at each other and capital T, the theory clicked. And like you can watch it happen on my face where I'm sort of tapping my pen on my notebook and then I just stop and I'm like, oh, we need to go talk to Jackson immediately because it's all about the salt mine, because it's all related to like things that happened a year ago in Maxie and Charlie's timeline. Like it's all connected to the night that I met 9. It's all connected to everything. We need to go to Jackson, who is almost certainly dead, who we then found out in the Bahari. We're not going to get into that yet. Did you? Anyway, and then 2 things happened. As we were like, okay, dress for battle. We need to go to the salt mine. It's the end. Like this is where it's all going to collect together. Because we had our theory moment where we all just sort of looked at each other. And like each of us had this facial expression when we all sort of just had our own theory at once, where we all kind of like were relieved, oh, we actually have a solid lead, but we also had these faces of we're going to lose.
Yeah, the
This took
connection
a-
of those 2 things. Like that's the thing in the combo between Charlie and Maxie. It's like we both wish it was anything but this right now.
Yeah.
Because that was a really good thing to leave behind.
Yeah.
Freaking eldritch horror underneath the ocean.
To those viewers who don't know, or
Yeah.
people in this chat who don't know what is going on or what they're talking about, before we began this whole season, I've been running one-shots to every coterie. And the Camarilla coterie, because Kai managed to join in late.
Don't make it sound like I did a bad thing. Managed to join.
Gratefully joined. Just
Better.
as we are about to start. I ran an in-person one-shot of possibly something that could connect into the whole canon. It's like their big hint. This is their big hint that's been staring them in the face since the very beginning, but they didn't realize it actually connects to it. It is about a research facility outside of the waters or territory of Australia, under the salty, very, very salty ocean, which they have encountered the various people, including Jackson. But
Yeah,
I will
that-
not go into detail
No,
about
That
that
bit
story.
about it being under the ocean and this being a salt mine, I
Yeah.
viscerally remembered that's the clicking thing. I was like, of course, it's a salt mine. It's not
Yeah.
an iron mine. It's not tin. It's not coal. It's
a
fucking
salt
salt.
mine.
Yeah.
Which, like, well, also was obviously a big deal in the Second Inquisition episode when Trist found a bunch of salt nearby to do a thing, and we saw a vision through Delilah's premonition of a salt circle and all that stuff. Like, yeah.
Good time.
The final note I have when it comes to the Camarilla episode, and I love how I bothered to make this note, is like it's to do with the Charlie and Jen conversation, which like very, very close to the end, which was a very gentle conversation, and I love their friendship so much. It's very special to me. Jen has adopted Charlie hardcore, and I caught this when you referred to the weapon as a spade. I was like, how many references to All Quiet on the Western Front have I missed?
This is the okay. I can't. There's so much I can't say in response to that. But yes, yeah, correct.
Don't just say yes. I need more than that.
But I think it like that wasn't on purpose, is what I'm trying to say.
Really?
And looking backwards through things that we know now that we cannot say, it seems like that is a plant for a thing, or like. But yeah, like so for reference, All Quiet on the Western Front has a passage where they talk about how in the trenches of World War I, the spade became one of the most dominant trench-raiding weapons by accident because of its unique properties. And the fact that every soldier had one. So when knives and guns and whatever fail you, everyone still got their spade. And so people would sharpen the edges. Anyway, it's very visceral and brutal and stuff. But that is...
Haven't
Yeah.
read the full thing. Phenomenal book.
Yeah, it's messed up. Yeah, you want to understand some things about Charlie? go read some passages from that horrifying book.
It's so depressing.
But also the fact that there was a sect war fighting
Yeah.
a bunch of Sabbat shovelheads. Some poetry in motion,
I genuinely thought it was on purpose. So like,
And that's the thing. That moment was not. But there's a few things. Once we finish the whole season, there's a few things like that I would love to just go back and touch on, like just some incidental throwaway lines. It's one of my favorite things about long form improvised stories of any kind is that like you start accidentally acquiring that dream logic of like repeating patterns and not realizing you're doing it, and then suddenly with some distance you see it and you're like, ah. I love it. It's the best.
okay, well, that's the end of all the notes I have in regards to the recap. So if anyone else wants to say anything before my voice, I need to rest my voice for a couple of minutes because it's dying. So if anyone else wants to say anything, fire away. Because that's the end of my recap notes.
I just want to say at the end of that episode, with Nora actually talking to Charlie and giving a little bit of foreshadowing in that moment as well.
Yeah.
Aside from that, everyone else is like taking comfort in their own moments. Like Charlie's obviously preparing for war. The Maxis with Nora. Jen is sprawling the entirety of the plane out of paranoia.
And Delilah's being shifty.
Yeah, Delilah's being shifty,
Funnily
sending
enough,
text messages.
Like I think in that sequence, Delilah was probably the only one of us who was not mid-trauma response.
I don't know about that. She kind of technically is in a mid-trauma response.
You reckon?
I mean, she literally, like, she's been turned for a week. And she just finally actually met her sire.
You know what? That's
a full
fair.
trauma
That's fair. There's also a whole bit about blood bonding that we'll get into more with the next episode, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, with our chat about that. But yeah, no, that's fair. You're in a longer term trauma response.
Exactly,
The whole
exactly.
week.
It's a little bit quieter,
Yeah.
but it is certainly there.
Yeah.
You're so far into the breakdown that you're just it's just silence. It's just radio silence.
Yeah.
You're just
Pretty
numb.
But like Jen pacing and protecting the pack, Maxie literally screaming into a pillow, and Charlie just like shutting down, dissociating, and just packing all of his stuff with rote like military precision. Like
Yeah.
we were all lost.
And then there's Nora who's trying to keep this group together. Poor.
Bless
Oh,
her.
my poor daughter.
Bless her.
Oh my god. After I think Nora's a bit traumatized by what Jeff has done to
Oh, but
her.
she's
my
also
God.
she's in the middle of seeing the future of her life, like having to tell Maxie, like, I'm gonna die. I
That
won't
was
be
hard.
here forever. And like I need to think about my life compared to yours, and you need
Yeah.
to think about your life past mine. Oh,
Okay, here's the thing. Like, I had Kai do the retainer sheet for Nora, and I saw that Kai plays Nora's desire and ambition as being turned by Maxie. But when I think about it, if you're in that age and you lost everyone, you're just like, especially with the way you write Nora, you wrote Nora. I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's not free spirited way of being Nora. Nora's gonna be a Bruja.
Oh, Nora
Nora's
would. Nora's
I love
Bruja.
knowing that. In a way,
Yeah.
it would make sense for Nora to have changed her mind during this chronicle. Even if she
Yeah.
did start that way, like I could see the events of this week being like, you know what?
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
Maybe
good.
not. Maybe unsubscribe.
Look
I'll
at all
take a pass
this.
on that.
Especially like, up until this, because Nora is around, and she's in her mid 60s now. Like as of the time of this chronicle, she's in her mid 60s. She's been with Maxie for a while now, and things with Maxie, like their life up until this point, has been pretty routine. They travel, they do business, and Maxie is hunting, and that's pretty much like it's been like that for literal decades now. And then we have this situation, like this chronicle, this chaos, which is sort of a moment of, okay, so the supernatural world, Maxie's world that I am only half inside of, is so much bigger than the routine we've been living. Because Nora, for 60 years, Nora has been rich and an orphan, and I guess an orphan, but living with Maxie, who they protect each other. It is a very loving relationship. They are very much father and daughter in a lot of ways. And yet, Nora is watching Maxie lose a lot of times this week. Nora is watching Maxie actually lose. And that hurts me.
I think it's that thing too that we like maintain. I say we, some kind of royal we. I think it makes sense to imagine that if you could live forever, you'd get better. Like you would fix your things, whatever
Yeah.
your things are. You would have time to work on your stuff. And I think, I don't know, in our position as vampires, like you just kind of don't.
It just
No.
enhances all the
Right.
problems and the
Yeah.
flaws, which,
All of it just gets more vivid.
especially now that Nora is surrounded by all this different kindred, is like,
Yeah.
wow, I don't want that for me. And then the fact that I remember writing this in my notes, when Maxie is trying so hard to protect Delilah,
Yeah.
and as
You
as
were
the
so
daughter, I'm just like, oh my god.
We're all such a mess, though. Like, who are we protecting? You know, who are we actually saving? It's when you get the big picture of it, it's like we are not qualified to protect anyone's existence.
We are kindred who are always inherently, I hate to say it, but kindred are just inherently evil by nature. They have to be. So we are evil creatures trying to do good and trying to be good and failing catastrophically because it's not in our nature. We're doing good things, but like Maxie is in their brain doing the right thing and doing a good thing by doing all this to protect Delilah, but doing it in an inherently fucked up way because that is their nature. Kindred on a deep, deep level are incapable of being truly coldly reasonable. That's just my...
Yeah, and that's why you have a touchstone to keep yourself from
Yep.
giving into the beast. It's your actual hold, or like keeping your humanity intact. And that's why Nora's always been the voice of reason in this whole group. Like, I went away for one night, and this whole group just died.
I left you guys for 5 minutes. And then
Nora's that meme, with the pizza.
Come back with the
Yes.
pizza. The room's on fire. There's a gorilla in the corner. What's happening?
It's really interesting to consider, like, knowing everything like that. It's interesting to actually say that Nora is actually one of Delilah's touchstones because she literally has no connections outside of
Oh,
the
Oh my
reason
God.
why she
That's-
completely goes, like,
That's
the
so
moment she
true.
goes to the Bahari and comes back and she absolutely has gone downhill to not trusting any of you, to lying, to going behind your backs, is because she has no one to be the voice of reason of, like, hold up. Like, she hasn't, Nora is the only one. So she's had this person for a week.
Yeah.
She's doing fine, though. She's doing fine.
yeah, but like going back to I think Kai's point of like Kindred being inherently evil and untrustworthy, I think it's quite true, because in order to kind of establish a deep and meaningful relationship with someone, you kind of have to be on equal grounds. Whereas the majority of Kindred disciplines, like be it like psychological or physical abilities, it's all about overpowering someone. Like you've got your like your presence, your dominate, your like just about overpowering someone's will, next to things like feral weapons or just like overpowering someone physically. It's all about like winning and not necessarily about building things. It's more about destruction.
It's about the power dynamics. So overall, this game is about it's a power play. Who can turn the table around, so to speak? That's why you can take someone hostage. You can just blackmail them. All those things.
Yeah, it's so true though. What, like, Evie, what you said about it doesn't matter even if you promise to never use these things, like the way Maxie is very clearly resisting using those things all the time. Like the brute fact that it's possible. It's like, what about on your worst day? You know, like what about in the worst moment? Like you're never equal in that situation. Like it's always by the grace of their strength or willpower that you are able to just live.
Exactly.
Izzy, you're playing the psychologist. What do you think?
No, I agree with all of you guys. Like it is very, very true in the fact that you do always have, like, the Kindred will always have the power over, unless of course suddenly a werewolf or fae
or three mages
or three mages show up. You are always like going to be playing the person in power, and that will always come with the negative effect of you will always at some point be the bad guy. You can't play someone who is intrinsically good.
Would you, like, any of you say that, like, let's say predator wise, I think it's fucking out there that Max is a cleaver. Like, it's just like, it's not even, that was obvious from episode 1. And a lot of Kindred like cleavers and also like people like Maxie try and establish relationships with people on a degree of equal grounds. Like Maxie wants to be equals with Nora, and Maxie wants to consider the pilots, like the brothers, on their level, and numerous other Kindred would do it as well. But in my brain, and I'd like to hear everyone else's thoughts on this, would you guys agree or like say that any relationship between a Kindred and a human, where even if the Kindred wants it to be equal, are those relationships inherently exploitative because of the power dynamic that just isn't shifting?
Yeah.
100%.
I can hear Matt's moving in the back.
Yeah, Matt, can you, like, what's your 2 cents?
Oh, I don't think it's exploitative at all. I think it sometimes can be a very wholesome and joyous experience for both parties involved. But I may have said too much.
Matt, there's somebody holding you hostage right now.
Yeah, where's
No,
the
the
Matt?
gun
Are you
is
okay?
just floating here by itself. I don't know what's happening.
Smile and wave, everything's fine.
Yeah, but like just going back to Maxie and the pilots, like even though Maxie does want to form a equal relationship and a wholesome relationship with the pilots, the fact that they're taking blood from them, and also the fact that the pilots know what Maxie is capable of, and therefore is by default, even if just subconsciously afraid, they like the fact that the pilot knows that Maxie can just overpower them in a heartbeat, and the fact that Maxie also knows that, means that there's definitely at least a psychological barrier there that prevents them from ever becoming true equals.
What makes the relationship between Maxie and the pilots even worse in regards to that dynamic is the fact that Maxie has lingering kiss.
Exactly.
The pilots are addicted to Maxie taking their blood.
Yeah, it's a good reminder of a difference between status and power, I think. Like, status is something that other people give you. They agree that you have certain privileges, or that they give you the right to make certain choices, or whatever it is, like an elected official, I guess, right? But like, power is what you can do. And like, if a person cannot resist your requests, you have power over them. Like, that is like that's just a reality of your bodies in space. And even if you never behave in a way that's like negligent or bad, like even if you give them status, you're the one with the power. You can snap your fingers and change their lives.
This is also why, because for if it's just like, let's say, the coterie and the mortals in there, obviously the coterie, the kindred, are like the highest species at the top of the pyramid. And that's why I wanted to bring 8 into the equation. Because even if Maxie wanted to, like, stay in the plane and everything, if 8 gives them a suggestion, not even using any magic, just tells them like, oh, you can have the night off, they all just leave like, oh yeah, vacation time.
Let's go. And now the ones in the bottom are like the kindred.
Yeah, you thought this was a pyramid. It's an hourglass, baby.
That scared Maxie a lot. That was a grand loss of power for Maxie. I have another question for Evie because of the SI.
We're gonna move to the SI in a bit.
Okay, you're right. I was just gonna ask about the power dynamics in that particular group, considering everyone's a little interesting in their own way. We'll get into that. Okay, I'll be quiet now.
One thing I wanted to bring in with the Camarilla coterie is the fact that you guys are always like the most emotional group.
We just have big feelings.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You guys are like, I clued that in the moment, like I think at episode 3, when everyone just started becoming attached to each other, and I'm like, hey, you guys are
episode.
I still forever love how much Jen just went, nope, Delilah is my baby now. If anyone harms her, you're gonna have to go through me. And everyone just kind of went with that vibe, and I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm like, how can I make this? How can I enhance this vibe?
You mean, how can I use this against them?
Yeah.
Enhance the vibe.
You find the glue of that group dynamic and you torture them. It turns out that's how you do that.
That final recording message at the end of episode 6. Delicious.
Oh yeah. Speaking of foreshadowing, jeez.
That's incredible foreshadowing.
It's the worst thing I've ever said.
That's not foreshadowing. That's 5 shadowing.
Yeah, it's just 5. I really don't have anything else to say when it comes to the Camarilla episode. Any final question? Like, any more questions? Any more remarks from people?
Only that I'm looking forward to the next episode.
People are emotionally invested. Here's the thing too. With the Bahari and the Camarilla, episode 6 and 7 happened at the same time, or at least in the same day. They recorded on the same day. The SI doesn't get to have that because they cut off at episode 6, and
Oof.
I am looking forward to what is gonna happen with when they're starting episode 7 recording. Because as of this moment, or maybe by the time this comes out, but while we're recording this, they haven't recorded their episode 7, and it's gonna be like a double recording with episode 7 and finale, and might be a bit of a sudden turn.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I don't like Evie and Aston doesn't know what's about to happen with the finale or at episode 7.
Oh, wait. So does that mean Joe knows?
Joel has ideas as to what happens, but he doesn't exactly know how it's gonna end. He has his own theories, which is
You got a lot of
90%
conspiracy
wrong.
theories.
Yes.
I do respect his choice to purposefully not watch a lot of the other episodes until they've recorded.
Yeah, and
'Cause-
every time he watch, he's just like a heart attack.
Redoing all the theories. It's very
for
it's
listeners
very
who
funny to watch.
may or may not be aware, Joel is our resident lore junkie who's just got all the books and knows all the things.
Yes, and I had to spoil the finale to Joel a little bit because I had to make sure that he is extra prepared for it. Because compared to Yue and Talon, Trist is gonna have fun.
Oh yes, he will.
You heard it here first.
Totally not evil laugh, by the way.
Yeah, totally not
Mhm.
ominous or anything.
Just keep that in mind when his face says the exact opposite of that.
I look forward to it. I'll probably laugh. But yes, we will be wrapping up this Camarilla recap unless anybody else has final remarks. Say now or forever hold your peace. Then we'll move on to the SI episode.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The long-awaited audit. Where do I begin?
Mhm.
So we finally had some blissfully competent leadership at the garden. All along.
The art!
Winters is right here.
All along in the arc until someone purposefully rebranded or attempted to rebrand Mr. Winterson.
It was an upgrade.
It was an upgrade. But yeah, in the arbiter and moderator we trust. So Mr. Winters has now been officially given the boot from our respectable organization. But that is after Talon and Trist sorta kinda butted heads yet again. But I think Yua thinks they're trying to work things out between them, and it's looking promising.
Who is the mom?
Yua is just like, oh my god, I did not sign up. Like, where is Dee Dee when I need her? Like our psychiatrist.
You need another moderator in there just to be like, guys, calm down, hold the phone. You need someone else to hold the other person by the scruff of the neck. Because you can only handle one at a time. You need a second there.
Yeah, and the other hand is holding the chicken nugget.
Yeah, I mean, I only signed up to be like a surgeon. I like psychiatrist. That's kind of someone else's job. But yeah, we got ourselves some competent leadership, and I believe the next episode is going to be so much fun. I'm trying to not spoil what happens, but Yue does not have a good time to start off with, but then she has a blissfully good time because of reasons.
A blissfully good time, huh?
Yeah, a very good time indeed. She gets something sharp is all I'll say.
Oh yeah. And if I remember correctly, Yuvi, this is the episode where all three of you guys have decided to hide Seven, the missing asset that the arbiter and the moderator is looking for.
where we're just like, okay, we after what happened with Winters and everyone that's on Winters' payroll, we're not exactly sure who we can trust in this organization now. Like, even though the new leadership seems very on top of things, we're until they can sort of prove themselves to us that they definitely do have the greater organization's interests in mind and that their goal aligns with ours, we are very hesitant to reveal Seven, which is this very powerful but very easily influenced child back, like especially because what happened to her last time she was at the SI headquarters. She was just a kid, but she's kind of treated as a very dangerous test subject.
Yeah, and now she's going back to the bad people.
Yep.
And she don't want to go.
Nope. Because so she can just hunker in the bunker and eat some nuggies until all of this blows over.
Oh, the poor kid. I do love how much you guys have like completely adopted Seven.
Yeah, Seven is just like cheeky nuggies.
The creepy child, but she's just like so cute. It's like
some reason I always imagine like Seven to have this very kind of messy unkept hair that kind of covers half of her face, but the half of her face that you do see is very pale and malnourished and kind of gaunt looking. So, but when she stares at you, like I feel like she would have a very like pure, very innocent, childlike eyes. Like she's seen some terrible things, but and she's, I think, still very easily influenced. But I think like deep down, she's still very, very much a child at heart.
I mean, if you've been stuck in a prison cell for most of your life, your mental capacity or your maturity is gonna be stunted, and that's what happened to Seven.
Yeah, I do, and I think like her relationship with Trist is very sweet because I think Trist is kind of like this very reluctant big brother where he's never had a sister, he doesn't know what to do, and he's also quite emotionally stunted. But he does his best to be like, oh, here's some junk food, kid. I heard kids like those nowadays.
Oh my god! If I can confirm this for a fact because I talked to Joel a bunch of times, and 90% of the times I've talked with Joel, he would always mention that Tris considers Seven as his adopted daughter.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh my god, you're killing me, Joel. Stop.
That's really, really cute.
Oh yeah, who's also emotionally stunted. Like
the pettiness.
We are just emotionally stunted like a trio, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Yue might be the person that's most in tune with their feelings outside of like inside of this entire like cell, and she's not even that emotionally attuned. So really it's kind of just like she has a little bit whereas everyone else has none.
Yeah, Tris is very petty, and Mr. Talon, if I remember correctly, because you all are on the way. What, Evie? This is the episode of you going to the salt mine, by the way.
Oh wait,
this is episode 6.
Oh god damn it! Oh yes. So wait, so I can.
You can reveal what you got.
That I have now a killer white jade sword that I will absolutely cherish and adore until the end of my days. Because that is like the short of maybe meeting, like seeing Didi again in the future. That has been the best thing that's ever happened to you, and she is just over the moon.
It is now the strongest ship in the show. Malice is dead. Long live Yord.
Oh my god! I love
We're definitely doing a spin-off of that. That guaranteed.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Skyrim belongs to the Yord.
Yord, Hunter from the future.
No, this is the episode that made me laugh a bit because there's the fact that okay, so the moderator, the arbiter who's been drinking whiskey and offering everyone whiskey the
Oh
whole time.
God.
Um, actually gifted people stuff that's been in his collection that's been hiding in Winters' office all this time.
Yeah, and I
Bookshelves.
absolutely love how Yue has terrible dexterity and nothing in sleight of hands. She tries to sneak a scroll out of the room, and aside from the arbiter, which is the only person that she is trying to hide from, everybody else saw her. But the one person that she is trying to hide from doesn't, so she kind of does succeed, but in the worst way possible.
And let's say here's the sad part though. Okay, so Yue does get the white jade sword, which is like it's like Kitana's sword. You kill people, you take their souls into the sword.
Her sword traps the souls of her victims.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Really is a Skyrim weapon.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And it's even and according to Joel, who is a resident lore junkie, the white jade is like the most expensive sword, the rarest sword to have as a Kuei-jin, which means like Dr. Yue is now the richest Kuei-jin
in Australia,
in Australia.
In like this half of the hemisphere. Like,
you know what?
God,
For being
so happy.
For having to work as a surgeon and a therapist for those two, I think she deserves that. She's earned it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And to think the arbiter just had it
yeah.
hiding away.
Made like our Lord and Savior, the arbiter.
And then Mr. Talon took the pure the steel sword, or was it silver sword? He took a sword, and then Trist got nothing.
Trist got the he got special
Rufus rounds.
Yeah. Special ammunition.
Yes, and during the ride towards the salt mine, all the Tris was doing was grinding away at a salt shaker or salt grinder to make salt rounds because he doesn't have any weapons aside from that.
He's got
No,
no
but
salt
like
coffee
you
to
know
spit.
what? Like very surprisingly, Trist has actually got the best firearm skills out of our entire cell. So he really should not have been staying in the bed.
Stay in the bed, Trist.
Oh God.
Oh, he's so petty during that moment. And then Dr. Yue just trying to make Mr. Talon apologize to Trist.
Yeah, like just how emotionally constipated do you have to be, man? Just say I'm sorry. Say I'm sorry. Let's all move on.
Talon's pride. The worst sin of all.
What else?
And then Jeff, I talked with Lou about this. Jeff being told by Mr. Talon, like Mr. Talon going like, let's go into the bathroom.
Not sus at all.
I love that. I was just like, I think at this point, was US still driving?
No, you
Like-
Yue's looking at the scrolls.
Yeah, she's just like, I'm just gonna, shimmy further down the van and pretend that I heard nothing. Never going to a toilet with that.
Oh, Adam, would you like to explain that sentence?
Okay, look. Speaking of one-shots that are not canon but have lingered, one of the earliest one-shots we ran many, many moons ago, Charlie was the only member of the Camarilla there and was attempting to slip into a bathroom in a nightclub to activate unseen passage out of sight. Got clocked by a bunch of SI folks, including Talon, and the entire SI just swarmed onto that toilet, and that was the rest of Charlie's time, just trying to escape the toilet from the SI group. So yeah, that was how I learned how to play Vampire the Masquerade, was being trapped in a toilet with Talon.
The trauma, also the changes Charlie went through.
Oh
after
yeah,
that
look,
episode.
I rebuilt Charlie from the ground up after that situation. We learned some lessons. Really had us in the first half.
Yeah, I think at that point it was still Tremere as well. But the worst of both worlds.
Thanks to COVID business, we had such a long time between originally starting and then actually recording.
Don't remind me. But after that, it went smooth sailing, and so there was a conversation with I don't know if you noticed that, Evie.
Yeah.
Between Jeff and Seven.
Ooh. Yes, I do like, now thinking back, it is kind of strange how I think Jeff and Seven knew each other, like, or they hint towards having previously known each other and having a much closer relationship than what should be logical. Yeah, we really need Lou here to kind of explain that to us.
He's busy. But yeah, I'll explain it. It's more like Jeff is how do you say this? Since Jeff works in the facility, works in the ARC, you know how if you're working at a place, you just go around looking at stuff, looking for hidden passages. Most likely Jeff is looking for somewhere to smoke without being caught.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds totally on brand.
So the maximum prison cells where Seven is hiding most likely will have been relevant, and Jeff is just curious about the little girl. Not in a creepy way, but more of like, what the fuck is this girl doing in here? What is this facility for anyway?
No, that sounds about right. I think Jeff, like, beneath his slightly annoying exterior, has a very kind and warm-hearted interior. Like, look at Rena just go, what disgusting. No, I actually do like he means well. He does mean well. No?
Due to storyteller restrictions, I cannot say anything.
Oh, God.
What a silence.
Crickets, uncomfortable silence. Oh God, I'm in for a shock, aren't I?
All I know is that episode 7 is a ride.
Like, I actually, because everyone else has finished their episode 7, but the SI group we're going to do episode 7 and episode 8 back to back. So it's going to be a very long and spectacular grand finale for us. I cannot wait.
Oh, it will be. It will be. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, and the fact that all of you went in, did not even bother checking whose car it was.
Oh no, like I did. I definitely remember thinking back that I wanted to check whose car it was, but we were running short on time. So I was just like, this is going to be a very long investigation check, considering that it will probably be Trist doing the research while all of us stand there twiddling our thumbs, and I'm just like, okay, it's okay, let's just go. But I have a hitch that it's either it's probably the Camarilla car, isn't it? No?
I don't know.
Oh. Well, I have my money bet on a Camarilla vehicle, but we'll see. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, and then all of you went into the salt mine.
Yeah, and our disciplines stopped working, which is quite concerning.
Adam's giving me a death glare.
Okay, like,
what are you talking about, Rena?
She has her sword.
Uh-huh. The funny thing is you all went in, it's incredibly dark in there, and the first thing Tris does is take a hold of well, with his right hand, if I remember correctly, right hand take a hold of Seven's hand, and with the left hand take a hold of Jeff's hand. Like he has two children with him.
It's like now he's like, damn it, I need a third arm to shoot with.
No, he's automatically just. I will hold the two children.
Yeah, the two kids.
Two kids and walk forward in this darkness, and
that's his child and his dog.
The pug.
I will say that one of my absolute favorite moments in the entirety of the Inquisition's run, and like despite that it was a very tense moment when like everyone was suddenly powerless, but I couldn't help but laugh when Talon started like slapping his hand like a flashlight, trying to get the light back up again.
That's not how. Well,
It's like maybe.
It was a very, very tense moment, but God, it was funny. Like everyone, like Padders plays Talon very seriously, and like Talon is very intense. But every now and again, he will be the funniest person in the Chronicle for like a split second.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like it's that juxtaposition between being uber serious and like just doing something really serious, like really silly and ridiculous.
Also, you know, one thing that I keep on laughing about with the SI episode is the fact that every time Dr. Yue goes into day sleep, Tris automatically covers her with a towel.
And it's like not even my entire body covered, my face.
Just the face.
Just the face.
So everything else is like still exposed.
No, funny. It's like the Chinese zombies. The face is covered.
Yeah. Only the face.
Only the face. Oh, but yeah, and very near the end of that SI episode, Jeff actually reveals that he knows about what the labyrinth is.
Yeah, which I am honestly still waiting to like just hound him on it, but you know, given like what we were already there and we were again running short on time, I'm just like, Jeff, you could not have told us this like, you know, during the car trip or maybe like 3 months before.
I don't think Jeff has the capacity to be aware of where you all are going, because it's his first field mission. Yay!
Oh god.
For the first time of working with the Inquisition, he finally landed a field mission. And
Yeah,
he has zero idea what the salt mine is. All I can say is that Joel has been saying that this is his favorite episode of the SI.
Oh really? Not even the one where he kind of assaulted Winters with a laptop?
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna make a comeback in this episode.
Oh, I love that.
No, it's mainly because he managed to finally get some validation after telling mom moderator about all the atrocious behavior.
Yeah, Winters has been mean to me.
Yeah, Talon's been mean to me.
I deny these allegations.
All right.
Wait, what did you want to ask before about the episode?
Oh yeah, Kai.
What? Okay, so going back to what we were talking about with the cam, in that the dynamic between a kindred and like a mortal is always inherently often kind of exploitative. Meanwhile, you go into the SI group and you've got 3, sometimes 4, if Winters is there, very entirely different types of beings. So like you've got Yue, Talon, and Trist, 3 very different skills and 3 very different levels of power. It's not a set pyramid system like it is for a normal kindred group. This is an interesting question. Everyone's going to have kind of different opinions of it. When it comes to the 3 members of the SI group, who is at the top of the food chain?
It's Yue.
Oh, it's me? No, I
Yes.
would say that it's Talon, but
Mm,
Rena, why would you think that?
okay, so here's the thing. I would say that Triss is at the bottom because he's always being bullied. Talon might act like he's at the top of the pyramid, but the fact of the matter is, once Dr. Yue opens her mouth and starts scolding the two of them, that's when it shows that Dr. Yue is actually the alpha of the group.
Oh god.
Also, the only immortal in the group, so it's like,
Oh, but I think like the reason why I say it's Talon, not because I kind of like default saying like he's the Inquisition leadership, but also because I think out of the 3 of us, he has the most drive, and he has the most just in terms of furthering furthering his own goals, but also B, furthering Inquisition goals, because I think speaking from just a personal background, like a character background perspective, Yue does not like she does care somewhat about the Inquisition ideals, but Triss can not give a single shit. And whereas Talon, like, he firmly believes in what the Inquisition is trying to do and achieve, and is very much behind that, and he has this he's very determined in making it work. And I think sometimes that extra determination can reflect in a character's like motivations, and also their like it can just make them stronger in a sense. I don't know if I'm making sense right now.
At least for me, because if we're gonna make that argument, I'd say that the top of the food chain in that sense is gonna be Trist, because he's the only one who actually makes things happen. But in terms of power dynamics, if you think of it that way, it's like Talon is like the dog that barks a lot, but doesn't actually do much aside from barking. And then Dr. Yue says something, and the both of them had no choice but to say sorry to each other. So I'd say Dr. Yue is actually holding the cards in that front. That's why I keep calling you the mom of the group. You are in charge.
Very much a professional versus personal relationship, because I think like in the professional relationship, Talon is definitely at the top, but at the personal relationship level, I think Yue is quite she's still trying her best to hold on to her pre-equation surgeon personality, in where she does genuinely care about her patients and does try to be nice and courteous to those around her. So she tries to build that personal relationship, and if she has like a strong bond with another person, that can like personally that can like bleed into the professional side of things, I think.
Because at least my dissection of Talon's character is the fact that he needs to prove something, but always fails. Like, he's acting like I already proved it, even though there was nothing to show for it. Meanwhile, Triss doesn't care about proving, or how do you say this in like a manly term? It's like measuring dicks. Triss doesn't do that, and Yue doesn't do that. It's just Talon who's just like, I've got the biggest dick of all. And Triss actually thought of all the ways, like, I think Triss was making a really good argument last episode where he's saying that Talon's not doing anything. If you take away his job, his title, what is he? He's just somebody who's always arguing about the plan. Meanwhile, Triss and Dr. Yue has done a lot since the first episode with the salt mine, with Triss figuring out the salt is in the walls, and Dr. Yue sacrificing her coffee because Triss was like, I need a liquid. It's like, yeah.
Like, puts it back into the cup.
And at that moment, at least for me as a storyteller, in episode 1, that is the moment where you have to prove yourself. That's when I establish who is actually at the top.
Yeah, and I think it also comes to sometimes making bad roles as well, because I think I can recall a few instances where just Talon's truth fate, like it didn't, like the roles just weren't working for him. Yeah, Kai, I hope that answered your question.
It very much did, and I loved all of that dissection.
I've had
It's
a lot
interesting.
of sorry.
Oh, I was just to follow up. I was just going to say it's interesting. I think in the context of the organization, Talon definitely has the most status of the three of you, but he's not in that anymore, and the organization turns on you all. So it's like that's his source of like where he gets his authority from, and you can't trust that anymore. So I feel like we've been watching. Sorry.
You're right on the money, I think.
Yeah, like we watch his source of authority kind of unravel over the course of this season, and I'm not surprised at all that he's barking a bit, because like that's what happens, right? Like you're getting the rug pulled out from under you.
Yeah, and it's actually like it's supposed to be, this whole season focuses a lot on Talon's like professional losses, like how he's gonna deal with that as a character in a way that's like his emotional damage. As all of you keep putting it.
Yeah, and I think Talon as a character, because he has been in the organization for so long, and he has gone through all of those like experiments, and he has pretty much sacrificed a lot for his career. I think he's, of course, it makes sense for his character to try and hold on to that previous status, and also try to like kind of revert back to those like olden days where he very much is in control and on top. And yeah, I think I'm really interested in seeing where he'll go from here.
Yeah.
I don't think I see him returning within the organization like fully.
For me,
like he might want to, but I don't think it's very likely.
My goal for this whole thing is, at least this whole season, is to show if you have nothing, if all your authority, your status, your resources, everything, at least for the SI, has been stripped away, what kind of human are you? What kind of person are you? How will you treat somebody who's lower than you? At the very core of Talon, he is just very prideful and what's the word? Cruel person.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say cruel. He might be quite resourceful, and I think he is that classic, cunning and determined, and
the way he treated somebody lower than him, which is Trist, is that's why like Trist snapped.
All right, I'm going to stop coming to Talon's defenses, because I think I have such a soft spot for I kind of, because again, this is kind of a bit of a backstory, but Aston played this other vampire character back in the days, and that was my first ever VTM Chronicle, and his name was Simeon, and he's just such an unhinged character that I kind of have like a soft spot for these type of characters that Aston tends to play. But I need to like stop coming to its defenses.
And you have to remember, this is what I told the SI people when I had them make a very important choice, is the fact that their story element, or what they wanted to explore with this whole season, is nurture versus nature. That's why I placed the child amongst the group. And the child is very is quiet, but is very observant. albeit creepily so. And from what at least Seven have noticed, how will she, if you are in Seven's shoes, here's what I will ask the rest of the group. If you were in Seven's shoes and you've seen how Talon treats Trist, who's the only person who's been treating her like an actual person aside from Dr. Yue giving her like the food, occasional
The nuggets, like,
the nuggies that's been microwaved, the cold egg sandwich that rolled under the seat.
Person egg sandwich.
How will you think of people in general?
Maybe there's good and bad people, and that is at large correct how the world is. Like, there are people that will treat you nicely, and there are people who will not treat you nicely. But I think
because in this instance, at this point in the story, Talon and Trist are at the same equal level. They are of the same status because Talon doesn't have any status.
Out on the road.
Out on the road with just you guys.
That's a really compelling question to think about it from Seven's point of view. Seven, who has no frame of reference for the SI except for her captors.
Yeah.
Like people who kept her and like fed her and tested her. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like between these three, like who shows up as kind versus nice versus good versus right versus something else. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. Trist is out here and like doing things for her, spending time with her. I feel like from what I've watched, Yue is like thinking of her and is like nice to her, but again a little bit more removed, often managing Talon among other things. And then you've got Talon, who, if I'm Seven and I'm watching Talon, I feel like this is someone who thinks that they're right, and maybe I need to watch and figure out if I agree that they're right. And then sometimes it just becomes very clear that, yeah, that thing of like someone who is scary but right, you can kind of, okay, I'll have them around. But if they're scary and you're not sure they're right anymore, it's like, ooh.
It'll also be very interesting seeing what Talon as a character does in the next two, because you're right, he has basically fallen from grace over the past like couple of episodes. It's been rough for him. He has had everything stripped away. I really am excited to see what he does with that now that he has none of these shields, because that will be his truest self.
Oh, definitely.
And I am so excited to see that.
You all see the pattern.
Talon is a beautifully complex character, and I love watching watching this character come unfold, because he is very prideful and he does hide behind it a lot. And he does like weaponize it. It is one of his weapons that he does use against, like, he does do that I am above you, you have to listen to me, because that's a part of how he leads. And now it's going to be very interesting him perhaps trying to lead without that backup, and how he might have to learn new ways. I think it's great. Like, it's really hard to play those characters, but I think Austin's doing well.
Yeah.
Because he is very realistic, like in that sense of like someone who he's become unstable in himself now, and it is very interesting, especially that I haven't actually considered up until this point. Yeah, how would Seven be feeling about all of this? I think it would be like, this is the crucial moment to see, well, okay, maybe he's wrong, as Adam said. What happens now? How he might actually end up becoming a role model of still holding on to pride, because pride is not necessarily a bad thing. I know it's supposed to be a 7 deadly sin, but having self-assuredness is not a bad thing. Perhaps projecting it onto other people, maybe a bit too much, is a bad thing, but having pride in itself is not a bad thing. And I think having that representation of being like, you know your worth, don't ever forget that, would actually be very healthy for Seven. Because she is shy. She is going, I don't know what's going on. I've kind of been traumatized. Having a bit of that self-assuredness that Talon has would actually almost be very beneficial for her. But that needs to especially continue, and he needs to find it from somewhere else instead of the Inquisition, and I cannot wait to see that happen. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
There's a pattern with all the episodes, and the episode 7, you guys already know what's, at least everyone else except for the S, I already knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your bet? Is Talon gonna redeem himself?
I'm excited to say that he might. I'm very curious to see what he does. I'm gonna be paying rapt attention the entire time.
I should put the betting pool.
Wow. What happens in the next 2 episodes?
Oh.
Oh.
No, Evie's just nervous.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Don't worry, nothing bad
It's
happens. You're
fine.
literally just going through a meadow. There's lots of flowers. Everything's delightful.
Yeah, just some lovely cookies. Nothing can
It's a
go
beach.
wrong.
It's
fine.
a beach episode.
Oh, it's like a beach DLC.
Yeah.
That's the definition of a nightmare to vampires, though.
Yeah. Why'd you think I made that comparison, my guy?
Oh, I've been preparing. You guys have not been recording in months, and I've been preparing every single hour that I am on the road to work. Has been writing SI.
It has been a
Oh.
long and winding road towards your hell. It's fine.
Why are you saying hell? It's more like
Because-
redemption arc.
Because all 3 of them have lost their powers walking inside of a deep, dark mine.
With 2 children.
With 2 children. With a child and an idiot.
Hey, Jeff knows about the labyrinth.
Yeah, I know. I don't trust. Okay, actually, a question has popped into my head in regards to you guys talking about what sort of people work within the Inquisition. I'm really curious now. What sort of Inquisitor do we think, considering the framework we have of her and her personality, what sort of Inquisitor do we think Delilah might have ended up as?
Good
Ooh.
question.
I will. I'm gonna mute myself for the entirety of this. Don't mind me. This is a question for you lot.
What? I don't know what you think.
No. Get back here, you.
Nope.
Come on,
No,
confess your
I'm-
cruelty.
No, I'm curious now.
Oh, she definitely would have been a torturer.
Wow. How
Yeah.
cruel. How dare you?
But
It's
putting that
bad.
psychology degree to good use.
I feel like real
Gaslight gatekeep
Clarice,
girl boss.
like Clarice Starling interviewing
Yeah.
Hannibal vibes. Like, imagine a bunch of chained up supernaturals that you just get to sit in front of and being like, so tell me about why you haven't walked into the sun
Oh
yet.
yeah.
Quid pro quo, Delilah.
Although we learned that wasn't your actual beat. It was for other Inquisitors, right?
Mm.
So, gosh, I'd be so curious the extent to which Delilah would be a company woman. Like, would she be invested in the cause, or like see herself as doing good work from the inside of something that's broken?
Like, Delilah as a blank template, as we have experienced her, has been very, I want friends, I want connections, I'm going to grab people by the back of the shirt and keep them close, I want to trust these people. And that's like as a kindred. And then like going through what the Inquisition can turn people into, and her parents and all of... I'm genuinely curious whether or not that desire for connection would have been broken out of her or not. How cold could Delilah have ended up being?
I also think we know that Delilah is very capable of appearing to be that way, even when she's not feeling that way.
Yeah, it's a
So-
Yeah, totally.
So it's also a
Especially
thing
after
of,
this episode.
like, I think I see her as the most dangerous kind of good cop in the good cop bad cop situation. It's like the one, because that's why they're dangerous. They actually make you trust them so that you give something away.
Mm-hmm.
So if Talon's your bad cop, right? Like the one who's going to come in there and be like, look, you don't need both of your kneecaps. And then someone will pull Talon away, and then Delilah's like, "I'm so sorry about him.
Let me get you a cup of tea.
Yeah,
Are you
it's
feeling
chamomile for
okay?
you, right? Yeah, I remember from last time. Let's talk a bit more about your religious upbringing.
Hey, let's do a one shot where we actually have these. Like, I would love to see a one shot where like Izzy gets to play Inquisitor Delilah. Like,
I would love to run this.
I would pay good money to have Talon and Delilah be Inquisition members together, because they would be a very bad force to be reckoned with.
Oh, that's a lot of questionable things.
we will each play our characters where the quotation marks big defining event of their backstory just never happened.
Maxie's just untraumatized. Maxie's just kind of like chilling.
What would Maxie be like without their trauma?
Regular human being.
It's fine.
Totally not gonna relate that later on. I can't wait for the finale for you all, EB.
So
SI
surreal.
episode.
So
Oh
sick.
yeah.
Can't wait. Technically, for this whole series, everyone keeps saying finale. The episode 8 is the finale, but the truth is, the finale is actually episode 7. Episode 8 is the aftermath of everything that's happened,
Accurate.
We have an epilogue.
The rubble.
and the Camarilla will have to wait for their epilogue.
God, we have to wait for
So
so
much.
long.
So much to unpack.
Wait,
We'll have-
when is the Bahari and Camarilla epilogue? It's after SI, isn't it?
Ours is on March
mean-
12th. The Bahari one airs on March 26th.
Ah.
It's a long way off.
Oh, don't worry, it's gonna be worth it. This series might be
yeah.
a slow burn, but
Oh, is it? Is it a slow burn? Yeah, and it's mostly our fault. I'm not gonna lie. It's the derailing. It's mostly our fault.
I worked it into the story. It's fine. Nobody noticed. But yeah, let's any other
Yeah.
questions for the SI episode?
Okay, I have one. I do actually have one because I am a fountain of questions because I love the SI so very, very much. So you guys are in the mines now, and really the last thing that happened was losing access to your abilities. But on a step further than that, Yue felt her heartbeat again.
Oh,
Evie,
yeah.
would you mind walking me and us through the initial mental reactions of Yue suddenly feeling feeling her heartbeat again?
I would actually think it's something along the lines of absolute panic, because let's rewind this back a bit. Like, the reason why she became a Quijin and breathed the second breath is because at one point there was basically a raid on the Ark, and she was killed in action.
Oh,
And-
spoiler!
Is that a spoiler? Oh shit! Okay, it's okay. I won't say anymore. Maybe we can cut that bit out. But the point is that she, like, on that night, she has lost something very important to her, because she never really wanted to become a supernatural being. She was very happy and content in her mortal self, and as with all supernatural creatures, we kind of experience the slow descent into madness, because, like, the longer we've been unalive, the shorter we've been alive. And she basically has just been slowly losing that compassion and that sense of, I want to help people, I want to genuinely, like, see them heal, I want to nurture them back into health, like that innate human desire over the years. And nowadays, she, even though she still wants to do that, it's more out of habit. like that chicken sandwich you always get for lunch on a Wednesday, as opposed to something like she feels a very deep and innate desire to do. So when she felt her heartbeat, it would have been being reconnected or rediscovering something very precious that she has not even lost. It was irreversibly damaged a long time ago, and I think she wouldn't know how to deal with that, even though it's something she treasures and would very much like to have it never been destroyed in the first place.
There's a real degree of tragedy in it. Rena's just hurting us.
What? I'm not.
That's just honestly, in fairness, that's just every World of Darkness story. It's
that's
just
just every World of Darkness story.
It's not a happy world.
It's a lot. Like I said, if you take away everything else, what are you at the very core?
Yeah.
We're about to find out next episode when they're recording, and for everybody else, and
fear.
Well, it's time to wake up Matt from his nap, because this is a very winter-centric episode. The Bahari episode 6.
Did it get cold in here? It must be winters.
Oh my god.
Oh, can we kick out Matt now?
Freedom!
To the tree with you.
All right, Matt, would you like to explain episode 6?
Oh.
Do you remember what happened? Or did you trauma block everything?
Well, I tried to method the aftermath and just whacked myself in the head with a laptop a few times, so may have some memory issues.
Well, the episode started with Winters being whacked by the laptop and starting the trek towards Alice Springs.
Yes.
With a big black eye.
Yes. It was all going so well up until it wasn't. So it was probably the most we got to see what was going on inside Winter's head than we have all season. Winters has been a bit of a challenge because you may or may not know he did start out as a NPC, which is just going to make a few guest appearances here and there, and then he got promoted. And I didn't really have a huge amount prepared in terms of making him a player character. So he's been very much a work in progress as we've gone on through the season, which pretty much means as soon as we finish filming an episode, it's like, oh shit, I could have done all that. Oh, that's a good idea. So So we just, in this one, we had to put a bit more meat on the bones. And a lot of this was basically improv. So something would pop in my head, I would do it, and then Rena would throw something back at me. So we were just kind of, I guess not like playing tennis, but with like improv ideas. So it was challenging. So I'm not a very experienced role player on my own end, so it was quite challenging, but fun. And what else happened? See, I'm stalling for time here because I'm just trying to remember.
Oh god. Well,
I remember there was completely losing his shit after an abysmal willpower check. Walking however far it was in the desert without any water, and eventually ended up missing a shoe.
Mm-hmm.
I did discover that there was a pack of werewolves somewhere in the distance. Remember that, and it was a tough choice. Do I go say hi to the puppies, or continue on to find my coterie members?
I was about to say, I was kind of looking forward to being like, I wonder what happened if Winters just went, yeah, hi, over to the werewolves. house. Just him on his own after being like, "Hi, do you have any water for me?"
They would most likely help Winters because Winters is still, even though he's a monster, he's still human.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yeah, for all they know, he's just some poor soul who got lost in the desert.
He's
dressed
missing a shoe.
Yeah, he's having a bad time.
Yeah, with one computer, one shoe, I don't think he could have gone any more crazy by seeing them because I think it was already pretty much at rock bottom.
You keep saying that you're like you're not good at improv, but that improv with talking to yourself was actually really amazing. I'm sorry, I
yeah.
kind of like cornered you into doing it because you were
Yeah, that's
describing
fine.
what's happening, and I'm like, Matt, come on.
As soon as I heard, that's like, oh shit.
Just do
I
what you're
gotta act
doing
it
when
out.
nobody's listening except for me, just minding my own business, and you just start talking to yourself.
I thought I saw you under my kitchen table.
Yes.
Yeah. That and little snippets of what backstory I did have were also coming out, especially with why he is always wearing sunglasses. And it's not just because it's a 2-eye or Second Inquisition cliche. There is a practical reason. And it's not because I personally am short-sighted and need them to see.
Totally not.
No,
Yeah,
that-
no.
that is not one. So maybe we'll learn a little bit more about that. Maybe. I won't go into it now because it might be spoilerish.
Yeah, and that's for next episode 7. But yeah, for at least for the Bahari, Dasha and Lorna have started to prepare. At least Dasha managed to do that whole ritual on Winters and actually figured out that Winters is just walking.
Oh yeah, where she could see, was it see through Winter's eyes, or
We'll see through Winters' eyes.
that ended up being quite handy actually.
Also, there was a big fly in the recording room during this whole thing. And so you can see Matt as Winters like batting away at the fly, which is very accurate because when you're out in the Outback, there's just a bazillion flies.
I still think that Rena brought a fly into the studio for this effect.
It's an extras.
Conspiracy theories here. Well, then there was the Macca's run to get Winters hydrated and full of trans fats.
You guys took it from the teenagers. And Winters, can you explain what you were telling Dasha in your delusion?
Where I tried to kill her with a hammer?
Yes.
Yeah.
The teenagers.
Sometimes you just get a little confused, But yeah, I don't know why Triss has so much issue with teenagers. Like, they seem to be, pretty easy to handle. You can throw tracking devices in their cars or steal their drive-through meals. It doesn't seem to be that hard.
And then,
Where were we?
yeah, the food in Winters.
Which, I think the more interesting food that Winters ate came a little bit later in that episode. It was in episode 6, yeah?
Oh, yes, that's in episode
yeah.
6. The Dasha. Hold on one second.
I would like to point out that I take dot point notes whenever I watch the episodes. I have double the notes for the Bahari than I do for either of the others.
They all end with question marks.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them end with exclamation points.
There's also at least Alice figuring out that her touchstone has gone into ground and is not actually murdered by 8, which 8 made her believe.
Alice is breaking my heart at the moment, honestly. Like, whenever I look at Alice, it's like it hurts me. Like, I play Maxie, who has this weird, I don't know what let me go, Alice. We've met once, but like, whenever I look at, and Melissa plays Alice flawlessly, and so breaks my heart whenever I look at her now. She's so beaten down and it just hurts. 8 fucked her up royal.
And that's all you've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
Not helping.
Alice might finally manage to at least send a message to or call Dasha saying extreme danger, and had started to call 9 to stay at 9 is essentially grounded in their haven in the garden, and it sucks because as 9 she was not giving any information. Why am I being grounded? Why am I not allowed to go out? And then Dasha also figured out that there's also a werewolf group somewhere.
They seem to be getting around.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we get to the house.
yeah, and I must say, I think the proudest moment here was when we managed to fuck over Prince Saracen's plans to buy that house.
That house.
That is our house.
That house is also conveniently where Kai, would you like
Fuck
to take
you.
over?
Go to hell. That, like, honestly, that's the moment where I have. This is the exact dot point I have written down. It is fucking buy my house, why don't you? It's honestly starting to feel spiteful despite this one being an accident.
What a happy accident it was, I guess.
Is it really an
Bastards.
accident?
Yeah, it was owned by someone named Jackson Seraph. The pleasure that went over everyone's face. Fuck you. Leave me alone.
Conveniently, you guys, the Camarilla was just there earlier in episode 6.
Yeah, we beat you by like only like an hour. Like,
Yeah, I was
barely
about to
an
say,
hour.
barely
or
an
so.
hour or
Oh,
something.
wow.
And
How were the cookies?
Yeah.
I don't know, how were
Not-
the
There
cookies?
wasn't-
Yeah, like how were the cookies?
Okay, hold on. Let's roll back a bit. Here's the
let's-
thing. The real estate agent was not there, and so there was
No.
no cookies. However, there was a calling card that was not meant for Maxie, that Maxie completely mistook us for them.
Is it
we-
any surprise I did though? Like realistically, is it a surprise to? This is all spoiler territory.
Yeah,
Is
I was
it a
gonna say this
surprise?
is our episode 7, isn't
Like
it?
this is episode 7 where we went to the house. Like this is next time. So like none of this is revealed yet, but it is. Oh my god, this fucking house. I was it. Oh, I genuinely have nothing to say except for frustration, but I want to find out whoever this real estate agent is, strangle her and throw her into the wood chipper next to 8 because there is no fucking way she's normal.
Trixie.
Trixie, poor
Well-
Trixie.
Oh yeah, the normal girls are sick. Okay, Trixie, no work you. I wonder who the fuck you work for. It's
You know,
fine.
like who was it in the Bahar group, Matt, who went like, yeah, Trixie, like the trickster, huh?
I mean, I don't recall that, but it definitely sounds like something I would say.
And goddamn, oh, the past owner. Yeah, the past owner went missing. Did he? Did he now? Did he now? Oh, he went missing. I hate this.
People go missing all the time. Nothing suspicious.
Like we see this it is at the end of our episode. We left to go to the house, so this is where the timeline gets weird because you guys are slightly behind us. So what happens in our episode 7 is before what happens in your episode 6. So keeping it straight in my head is kind of confusing. But he went missing, did he? He popped away, did Jackson Seraph? Who isn't at all important.
I mean, you know, nobody bothered to check on. There's like I told you guys that things are happening in the background
I
where you all
know.
are distracted and you're derailing of Rena's story, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna move along this main plot line.
I know I should have checked on Jackson earlier because he was mentioned in one of the notes. I should have, but Maxie being Maxie kept that very tight-lipped and didn't have a moment to step away and check. So that fucking house. Buy my house, why don't you?
We did. Thank you.
Yeah, you did. It was either going to be you or the prince. Either way, I lose again. And
But
having a great time.
can Melissa and Tara please stop finding sadistic pleasure in it?
It was so funny.
It's
Also,
I never did anything I never did anything wrong.
I'm
yeah,
just,
aside
I'm
from
just
the
Are you
hearing.
sure about
lying,
that?
the
Are you
gaslighting.
I have no-
sure
I have-
about that
I have
now?
never. I fucked up. Sure, yeah, sure. Okay, I fucked over
Valid.
Delilah.
Valid has never done anything wrong ever.
I'm sorry. Who hasn't?
Kai. And also,
Hmm.
by extension, has never done anything wrong ever.
I'm
Okay,
just
I've done a
hearing
couple-
Willy Wonka
not to the
screaming, "You get
Bahari."
nothing. You lose."
I did nothing to. I've done nothing to the episode 1 of the Bahari. Lorna's like, ugh. Why would you talk to Maxie? So I was like, what did I do? And now you're just every step of the way. You're fucking me, even accidentally. What? This isn't even a rivalry. I'm just your fucking victim. There's no equal back and forth here. This isn't a war. It's not a chess game. I'm just getting bent over Alice Springs, and I hate it. Leave me alone.
Hey, it was fine.
Oh,
But the
I
real-
cracked up. I was laughing so goddamn hard.
We
Oh my god.
we also see Winters fail, Matt fail his role, and so Winters have failed the resolve check to ignore the cookies.
Yep, you numbed.
He had a day.
Winters Winters was just in hell. Like
Winters
overall.
Winter's very bad, not very good. Like terrible, very bad, not very good day. And it was kind of funny to watch, and I'm sorry to say that, Matt. It's very interesting watching this man just take solid L's after L's.
It's a slippery
Oh
slope.
god, poor Winters.
Uh,
He has a song debuting. Like,
yeah, realistically, it's really funny watching the fact that you really haven't. You've tried to like.
Yeah, it's oh.
You
Sorry, yes,
have gotten
continue,
a
Izzy.
couple of people murdered, but like, who hasn't nowadays?
yeah, I mean, you've taken the Wi-Fi here and there, but you know, that's just too
And
little.
he had such grand plans, and it, just right down the toilet. But yeah, the cookies. I mean, when they say please take one, I mean you take one, right? And
Absolutely.
okay, it may have been more than one. There may have been several trips back to the kitchen for more cookies, but when you've had a shitty day and they're just like the cookies you remember from one of the few fond memories of your childhood, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna have that cookie. And I was willing to share. No one else seemed to want any.
So more for you, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that and my companions are dead. But
the technicalities.
just eat the cookie.
I think it was just Matt being hungry in the recording, though.
Look, I can't imagine what that's like.
The amount of growling. Yeah.
One day
that
there
was
will
funny.
one day there will be an episode where you don't hear my stomach. That is not going to be this season.
We just need a compilation of all the times Izzy was hungry at the table. Like we just
We
hear the
just
stomach.
do like a supercut of all the
Yeah.
stomach growlings.
Yes.
There are times it was so loud where everyone was looking. It was like every now and again Charlie would just look over at you. Like, are you okay?
Like on.
Just add a hunger dice.
And then
beast is stirring.
we see with the Bahari episode we see Dasha finding
The basement.
the basement
Yes.
and then having a premonition, like a big premonition of at least foreshadowing of somebody stabbing her several times on her back. And when she looked back, she asked me, "Who's behind me right now?" As she snapped out of her premonition, I told her it's Lorna. And then later on, it's Alice.
Oh, it hurts.
Dun
It
dun
hurts.
dun.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, it's gonna be relevant in the next episode. But aside from that, they wrapped up. They managed to wrap the deal, fucked over Saracen's plans of buying all the properties, buying up all the properties in Alice Springs.
Worth every
And
penny.
5 resource dots.
5 resources.
Wow.
Yep.
None of it was winters, so that's okay, I guess.
And they finally headed to the salt mine where they found 2 cars, 1 van and a car. And then
Oh, I wonder who those could those belong to.
And then was it you, Matt, who started on just smashing the van up?
Look,
had a
if you don't
day.
have it on camera, then you ain't got nothing on me, okay?
Matt!
What? Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
I'm gonna
Switch
smash
a
the
few
windows
times.
on this whole, slash the tires.
Did you assault our mystery man?
And the one time he Winters makes a successful like insight check, finds a certain compartment in said van.
The gasp.
Oh my god, did you? Oh no.
That gasp makes me think there may have been more than one.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
no, wait.
Indeed.
No, the I have my sword on me and I also have the scroll on me, I believe. So what did you find?
I believe there was like packets of chips. I think snack food is like the theme of this episode.
They,
And definitely a little
Winters
crawl
found...
space.
Yeah.
Big
do
enough
have-
to hide a child, perhaps? Maybe like a young teenager?
Oh god, no, you didn't.
Evie obviously did not watch the Bahari
No!
episode.
I did not have.
I was waiting for this moment.
Is really just, I am discovering the plot as the viewers are discovering it, and I'm just like, wow.
But yes, there was a little discovery made.
I will be catching up on a lot of these episodes on my flight over the next month or so, but yeah, like, oh my goodness.
It's gonna be a real roller coaster ride because they managed to end just as they entered the salt mine. Just as they suddenly started feeling like humans again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Bahari. Is there any questions? Aside from why it is a snack-centric episode, I am totally not hungry and was eating human flesh during that episode.
I genuinely have written down in my miscellaneous notes that Marcus has been a strangely constant presence in 2 of the 3 storylines.
And
Maybe
strangely,
it's
they
time-
still haven't given us any money.
Yeah,
We're
sponsors.
trying to get
sponsors when.
sponsors.
You guys have to understand. Okay, so I live in Alice Springs for 6 years, right? That's my hometown, basically. 'Cause that's where I grew up in Australia as a person. The only thing open after 11 p.m. is Macca's, aside from KFC. But KFC sometimes closes because somebody always gets stabbed in the driveway. So there's always cop cars and you kind of want to avoid that. Macca's, if you are finished partying and you are drunk, you just grab a taxi and you ask them to drive through the Macca's drive-thru. So
The same in Newcastle. I know the exact Marcus. Yeah.
it's right
It's the
there.
same in Canberra.
Mm-hmm.
There's always one that's just revolving.
And the KFC is always fucked up by past 8.
You never go to KFC.
When you say fucked
past
up, it's
9.
like what? The
I'm
chicken comes
starving.
inside out, or?
Now I'm really hungry.
But yeah,
Oh god.
is there any other questions you'd like to ask Matt? Or just about the Bahari in general? At least for me, my last comment about this whole episode is the fact that they were oh, this is gonna come up in the future, but the Bahari people asked me, like, did you drop enough hints that you wanted us to go in a certain direction? And I had to explain to them that I didn't railroad you all into this storyline. Like, I gave the plot hook. It's your guys' decision how you're gonna go about it and how you're gonna play it. So the storylines that I've written always have several branches of how it could have gone. So, like, I would think, like, oh, depending on this play style of this group, they would have gone the emotional road. Depending on this play style of the group, they would have followed the rules exactly. But the Bahari people have completely surprised me. Like, there's no wrong or right or wrong way of playing this this storyline that I've created, because it's supposed to be fluid. It's supposed to be several branches in a tree. So they were a bit like worried, like, did they not pick up enough hints with episode 6? That with episode 7 they completely got blindsided with what's happening?
What did they? Is that they felt very, because they didn't act very well, like, obviously shocked, yes, but I hear how, like, the Bahari plan, and it is scary to watch because they come in so prepared.
Now here's the thing, they don't know what's gonna happen because
Oh yeah, I know. They don't know what's gonna happen.
that's
but
why their preparation is completely
So-
like just gone.
That's very fair.
That's
sorry,
why
for
they
the,
were. Yeah, no, it's alright.
the one time I guest starred, I was like, y'all have a folder of preparations. What's going on? Like, and I know that's not, like, that's just completely how they, like, they go this, maybe just in case, let's think about it like this, which is great to watch, but it's very interesting to see that they felt blindsided by everything.
Yeah, here's what I'm gonna say without going to spoiler. The Camarilla people with episode 7, let's say from episode 1 to 6, have completely failed all the planning. Did not go well at all. Like, zero expectation that episode 7 will go well because of how badly episode 1 to 6 have gone. But surprisingly, episode 7, you all actually you all
we
actually
smashed episode 7. We smashed episode
Yeah.
7.
followed the right pathway to the end.
In fairness,
We
episode
got the
7,
good ending.
there were no, we
They
didn't.
got-
I've been like,
No, we don't.
I love how
That's the good ending.
this is like a very slight spoiler in a way, but we ended episode 7, and I remember just sort of just sitting at the table and just, I believe I turned it to Hollow and I went, so we lost, right? But we didn't do great the entire season.
That's
like you said, we missed every marker.
Yeah, but with episode 7, you guys completely went the right way. You did everything the right way of how it's supposed to be done. And in a way, you guys got the good ending.
We had
Even
a
though
lot
you
of
think
time
it's
to-
not.
Which I'm very terrified about what the bad ending is now,
Kai's
quote
literally
unquote.
choking, like actually dying.
That was the good ending?
That's a good ending. Guy, don't die.
Hey, Evie, sorry, no pressure or anything, but like,
Oh Jesus.
oh Jesus! Now I'm actually scared of you.
Oh my god, that
To
was the
hear
good
that-
ending?
To hear that could go worse,
Mm-hmm.
It can and did.
it can. Oh
It can
no!
end it.
Oh no!
There may have been some slight misinterpretations around certain visions and
Yeah.
other information.
Okay, interesting.
Wait,
I
they,
can't
they
wait.
over they they over
Couple of whoopsies.
they started overthinking everything, and it made it worse for everyone because the Camarilla just took everything at face value, like, okay, that's it, just go for it. They started overthinking about what it could be.
Curse our big brains.
because
Yeah,
of all their planning and over planning, and now they've got.
So what I'm hearing is us all having a single brain cell actually worked out in our favor for once.
Ain't evolution funny?
And now and soon we get to see how Evie and the SI handle the caves.
I wonder
Okay, I'm
who will
gonna
be.
put money down that
Okay.
they can't get through the door, like the entrance. Like,
Ooh.
They'll
Yeah.
vox machina and it stops by a door.
Yeah, Dr. Yoa will try and tell them, look, just go through the door, but Trist and Talon will be arguing. The van will be mentioned several times, and they'll just get stuck at the entrance.
They'll try
If,
to
like-
bring the van into the entrance.
Yeah, if they
yeah.
don't try and
Or,
smash
like,
through the door with the van, I will be shocked.
No, they're already inside though.
Oh yeah, that's true. There's
Oh,
no,
well, I just lost
there's
money.
no way back there. Yeah, there's no way back out.
That's been Winters' job, is to lose money this whole season. I'm pretty sure.
I've been exemplary at it.
At least the evaluation is still out as to which one's gonna have the worst ending, because I haven't played with the SI. We'll see what the SI will do.
Oh,
Because
no.
no pressure.
Win the race to the bottom. I encourage you.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this before when we began this whole story with session 0 and everything, with the whole meeting. When I planned this storyline, I always have 3 levels of difficulty. Which one is like the easy, the completely uneventful part. The second one is the unexpected part, and the third one is just hell to. The fuck just happened.
Oh, you just unlocked a memory in me of you pulling us aside partway through our next episode, I think. And it was without spoilers. You just looked at us and was like, you told us these 3 levels, and you're like, you're on the worst one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're on the
yeah.
hardest one now, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you basically just went, well, you're in it now. The only way out is through.
Yeah, but surprisingly, you all actually like got the good ending with your one brain cell.
I dare you that after it airs, I dare you to look all 4 of us in the eyes, including because Hollow is not here to be outraged as well. So I dare you to look Hollow in the eyes and go, "You guys got the good ending."
You guys really did get the good ending.
I'm very curious to see how I'm curious to see what happened at the Bahari. I'm very curious.
And thus Izzy have revealed that she also have not watched.
No. I mean like the next,
The,
the next
okay,
episode.
episode
Yeah,
7.
that's what I mean. That's like with all of this talk about like the big moment. I'm very curious to see what that's gonna be like now.
All right. I
Aw.
am also quite excited. But yes, let's finish up this recap by stating like what our favorite moments are of each group. I'd start and say like my favorite moment in the Camarilla is Nora, just at least Jeff saying to Nora like, you have a human, you have food with you? And then Maxie saying like, she's not food, and then Jen saying she's not food.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think my favorite has just always been the way that the Cam is very much a found family, and they're so close bonded. Even though there are a lot of small issues here and there, mainly with like lying and like deceitful things and all that. But I think at the core, they're still very much like a found family, and they care for each other. And I think that connection is really sweet.
Next up.
Oh no! Sorry, did I skip Adam?
No, I
Oh,
don't think we
no.
were going in any
We're
order.
not
I think.
going
Yeah, we're
in
not
there.
going in any order.
Since you said my name, I will say, I think I loved getting to actually have a conversation with Doodlebug after having the big confrontation in the prior one. I thought that was really good closure to get to have, because it was such a to the wire, one superficial damage kind of hanging in the balance. fight. And then for me, it was a moment of build up to when without saying it out loud, I feel like both Charlie and Doodlebug accepted that Doodlebug was going to die and Charlie was going to do it. And then there was still conversation after that. Like, I loved that moment. It was like, that was total liberation, like getting to just say whatever you want after that point. And I think it's the most outwardly emotional Charlie's been all season, getting to be like, you know, like, if I wanted to kill you, I would have killed you kind of thing. Like, getting to actually just kind of unload on this guy a little bit, and then
Charlie,
express
so
some disappointment in him. Like you believed this about me. You know me better than that. I was glad to get that kind of resolution.
I'm so sad about that, by the way. I'm the one playing the character. I'm just like, oh no! Heartbroken.
Like, I know on a player level, it's like Doodlebug probably deserved better. But from Charlie's perspective, it was like, you asked for this. You're here.
Ty?
In the episode we did, I have two favorite moments. One of them is self-indulgent. I thoroughly enjoyed cracking and actually revealing the backstory. That was a long time coming. And I loved the little moments of looking to Nora and going, do I really have to do this? And Nora just going, it's time. Trust them. So that was fun. My favorite non-Maxim, it has to be Charlie and Doodlebug. Adam, watching you fight, like, the spotlight entirely on you and you role-playing and you fully in them, that was so much fun to just sit there and observe you doing one of the things that you do best. That was just sitting there, sipping my water and just watching you go was just so good. So I thoroughly enjoyed every second of it. It was brilliant. And next season better have more moments like that. We need the spotlight on you more because you just had all of us utterly entranced. It was brilliantly done by both you and Rena. It was phenomenal.
Thank you. And also, oh no.
Yay! I have written a comprehensive character to bring that all back in. Yay! I'm so excited about season 2.
I'm
excited. Too. Yeah. It is exciting.
Wait.
Izzy?
I think definitely my favorite would probably actually have to be the conversation between Jen and Charlie, especially after like the oh my god you're back and having that private like one-on-one conversation, because you could just see like it did very much feel like the whole they've known each other for literal decades. Like this friendship goes deep, like, and it's just that really simple of like, yeah, no, I wasn't gonna ever leave you, you know that, right? Having that, it was very, very wholesome, and it was very nice to see like how like that bond, because it is there, but it's normally quite quiet, and it's nice to see it come to the forefront very clearly. And I just think that was a beautiful setup. So yeah, that has to be my favorite moment from that episode.
Matt?
Crickets.
Matt, wake up.
No, I'm here. I'm going to have to pretty much mirror what Kai said and say that it was definitely the Charlie Doodlebug showdown. Charlie was just not having a great day, and Winters knows exactly how that feels. So, but it was just really, really fun to watch. I don't know how to put it. Words. It just had a really good rhythm to it. Like it flowed really well, and it was incredibly engaging. And yeah, because I'm there behind the scenes just watching, with the headphones on, monitoring the audio and the cameras and that. I was not even looking at the cameras or the audio. I was just staring at Adam at the table playing this out. And it was kind of like a live theater performance for me. So I thought it was fantastic.
Thanks, y'all.
Yay! See, oh my God! See, this is why I want Charlie to be in the spotlight. Let's go!
You want me to bring a spotlight?
No,
I'm not the
no.
Lysandra.
Oh yeah, shine it on me. Let's see how long it lasts.
Yeah.
I should do a super cut of every time I go. Like my light has gone now.
Yeah. Braver lights than you have tried. Braver lights have died.
Yeah, I have tried to get Charlie into the spotlight for like a lot of times this whole season, but Adam has successfully evaded everything except when it's like trying to kill him now.
Yeah, you know what? A couple of episodes we'll have a chat. Chat.
Yeah. And then let's have like the SI favorite moments, which for me is gonna be Trist just grinding away at the big Himalayan salt shaker he has to get the fine salt to use for his salt rounds, while Jeff and Seven are having a really serious conversation.
I'll go next. What stuck out with me, the entire Inquisition episode was just absolutely phenomenal, and I just personally found it really comprehensive. I don't know why. I found it very easy to follow along with, but 3 things stuck out to me to the point where I had to like sort of double take because I was watching it on my second screen, and 3 things happened. The first 2 of them were 2 of Talon's lines because they were delivered flawlessly. The first one was when Talon just deadpanned Trist, "Were you about to give drugs to that child?" And the delivery of it, unbelievably flawless.
Tristan didn't know about the blood lollipop.
It was incredible. And then there was the entire thing, which for some reason was relevant, about Jeff getting laid. How? Why? What? And I just sort of sat there in this strange awe, just watching this. It wasn't relevant. And like, did you use protection? Maybe. What the fuck are you on about? And I'm sitting there watching, slowly sinking down on my chair going, what the fuck?
Jeff getting laid with 9.
That was the twist. That just sort of, and then again, Talon, deadpan, did she seem mentally deficient? And just completely flat delivery. And it just knocked me. Incredible conversation, incredible moment. Like it was a really serious, really serious episode. Like the plot is really engaging now, and we're at the end. Everything is ramped up to 11, and then just have like that moment of chaotic reprieve, and just to release some of the tension so people can concentrate again. Always important, but oh my god, was that a beautiful one. And of course, the third one, of course, was when Talon's light went out and he was slapping his hand like a fucking broken flashlight. It was incredible. I loved the SI episode. I was beaming like an idiot most of the time. It was wonderful. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. Hi. But yeah, for me, I mean, I am 100% and 110% self-indulgent, and I must say it has to be me gaining my YJ sword. Yours is very much my new OTP, and I absolutely love the Arbiter for that. Our Lord and Savior Arbiter, thank you very much.
I really hope the Arbiter and the Moderator come back more. They were amazing to watch.
Matt disliked that. Adam?
Who's up? Oh, me.
Matt?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay.
Who's gonna be next? Come on.
Come on, Matt.
Okay. It hands down, without a doubt, is Yue driving?
Yes.
That's absolutely
the image
mine.
that went
That
in
was
my
mine
head
as well.
of Yue driving the van while the other two are too busy squabbling to realize the sun's come up, and she would just pass out and the van would careen into chaos. That was all that flashed in front of my mind, and I was like, please don't realize the sun's coming up. I want to see what happens.
And I think I asked that 3 times. Is Yue driving? And then Evie's like, yeah.
I just
is
like
Yue-
pictured like Yue's just got this big smile on her face, like she's just happy to be driving, like this is fun, and you know.
Makes me look plonk.
That's yeah.
Good.
Izzy?
Oh no, it's also is Yue driving. I absolutely wiped out at that. That was the funniest moment.
That's also
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
the
100%.
takeaway from that. Oh, it's so good.
Oh my god.
I laugh so much with the Inquisition episodes. You're all so goddamn funny. Just the line delivery and the it's so good.
See, and Evie thinks their episodes are boring.
No, they're so not, dude. They're so not. Oh, they're a joy to watch.
Oh.
It's 100% like Three Stooges plus God of War. Like we've talked about the Trist plus 7, like goofy elder
Dad
who's
of
real
war.
strong.
Yep.
Plus traumatized child dynamic, but then you add like the triangle between these 3 of how they manage each other. Always like super tension. We yell at each other. Instant comic relief.
That's a very accurate description, actually. I do love that.
I don't know how this child will grow up as under the 3 Stooges.
Bold of you to assume this child survives.
Oh.
I know.
Silence, that's silence.
Well, I don't have information on that front, so
Yeah, I felt Evie's fear.
I'm just extrapolating here.
And finally, the Bahari episode. There's so many good ones. I just like, oh, what's my favorite? Yeah, Winter's trying to cut Dash's like neck with the hammer, like the flat side of it, and Dash is just going like, oh yes, continue trying to murder me.
Over a long enough period of time, it would have worked. I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I still need to catch up on like the episode, but I'm pretty sure like one of my favorites will be just Winter's walking through the desert, just questioning my choices and everything with a laptop that's been thrown at him.
Revenge.
I need to focus on the absolute power move that it is to make a person get out of your car. Like that is like just on a visceral level. I know a few people who have had the audacity when confronted enough by someone to make them get out of their car and walk. And like obviously Winters had this so much worse because of how far it had to be. But like even if it's not that far to go, there's just the emotional damage you take when someone's I will put you on the side of the road. This is my car, and now you are not welcome in it. Like it is just that transcends genre.
There is one moment, and I mean this genuinely from the bottom of my heart. There is one moment in the Bahari episode which is currently my favorite moment in the entire Chronicle across all 3, because nothing has made me laugh quite like it. It's when the cookies are first being investigated, and Melissa/Alice just says offhand, "The cookies are Fae." You start making notes, and Tara immediately screams, "Don't make notes! Why would you immediately go and make notes?" And the sheer fear in her voice, I lost it. And it immediately became my favorite moment across the entire Chronicle. Because it's such a classic move when the DM just makes a note because of what something a player says. And Tara just goes, "Don't make notes!"
Tara was hyper aware of what I was doing that whole session.
It was immediately my favorite moment of the campaign, of the Chronicle, across all 3, immediately. It's never getting beaten. I lost it.
It's like if somebody in the Camarilla says something offhand and then the storyteller just goes like, "Oh, making a note of that." Izzy?
I have to say, it's probably like it's a collective throughout the whole episode of every time, like the moment they figure out that the house belongs to Jackson and therefore Maxie, and just the absolute delight across the entire table of, yeah, we're taking this, it's done, no matter what happens, we are taking this house, is so funny to me. The spite, the absolute spite of being like, we just want to fuck over Maxie, whatever we do, we just want to make Maxie's unlife as difficult as humanly and kindredly possible, and it's the fucking best. And I can see Kai is currently dying right now.
Now, see, that is malice.
Yep, that's malice.
That's malice for ya.
Classic malice.
Oh, there's a moment where Alice goes, yes, I think Maxie and I are overdue for a talk. Oh, you have no fucking idea how good
The talk will never happen.
Spoilers.
No context whatsoever about why. Sorry, Evie. I'm totally not trying to make you nervous or anything. Yeah, Evie, what's your favorite moment of the Bahari episode?
Oh, no, I was gonna say, like, I have not, like, I need to still catch up, but
Oh yeah.
no doubt one of my favorites will be Winter's just like walking the entire desert, like questioning his life choices and basically carrying the laptop that was thrown at him from one of his underlings, ex-underlings. That would have been so hilarious. And also just casually spotting werewolves in the distance.
Oh god. It probably definitely has to be buying the house. Mainly because it not only screwed Maxie over, it also screwed Saracene over. And on a personal note, that's quite gratifying because you may not know that Chris, who plays Saracene, is my cousin. So anything to
Oh, it's beautiful.
to mess with his day like that is, it's mwah, chef's kiss.
All of you should come in early and listen to Chris and Matt just argue between themselves.
It's very amusing to watch.
But yeah, it's been eventful, and our recaps have been longer, mainly because of all the things that could be said and breaking down the moments. I'm pretty sure episode 7 will be longer, so we'll have to schedule that with an even longer recap. But yes, thank you guys very much for joining us for this episode 6 recap Outback by Night. Once again, my name is Rina, and I have been the storyteller for this chronicle.
I am Adam, and I've been playing Charlie, our Camarilla Banu Hakim.
I am Evie, and I have been playing Dr. Yue, the equation consultant.
I am Izzy, and I play Delilah the Toreador for the Camarilla.
I am Kai, and I play Maxie, the Ventru victim for the Camarilla.
I am Matt, and I play Winters, the cookie enthusiast.
Nice.
Cookie monster. But but yes, join us again next month for the episode 7 recap. I'm sure that you all will enjoy the breakdown of that episode. But yeah, we'll see you then. Bye.
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 Bye now.
Would you like your marker back?
Haven't done since film school. Camaweenies, episode 6. Take 1. Shut up. This is the homoerotic table checking in.
Episode 6. Who wants to die first?
Me.
Not me.
Me.
You can't die.
Literally dead right now.
He's like,
we're all literally dead right now.
But I am both literally and physically dead.
you're fine.
And,
You'll be fine, darling.
Walk it off. The Doodlebug Memorial Hour. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, sorry.
It's time for Maxie to tell the truth and make friends.
No!
You will be made a friend. It is inevitable.
What am I even meant to tell everybody?
It's a
I mean,
long
you
back.
literally just watched Charlie murder another kindred, so we're clearly okay.
No, like, there's a long. It's a long backstory. What the? How am I meant to summarize this crap?
Sum it up.
Okay.
Yeah, none of us have long backstories filled with kindred murder.
Okay, honestly, fair.
I like how innocent Maxie is. Thinking a murder is like the worst thing. What is Hawaiian music for Hawaii?
What is bloodweed?
Blood and weed.
Blood
Alchemy.
It's just that.
That's what I'm.
It is what it
Jeff.
sounds like. Okay, cool.
Sorry, episode 6, take 4.
It's very good. Makes you see stuff.
Okay, I was looking at Matt to see if he would go like, hold on a second.
I thought it real loud.
Right. I just say it's wits end.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. In
Just
the folder,
hand Matt
like
his
in the
notes
front cover.
before we.
Yeah, the shenanigans. And who wants to bet some money that it may not actually even be in here after all that?
Oh, there's Matt's 2 shenanigans on it. Amazing.
A finely tuned machine, this operation.
I'm starting to see how things went so bad. Further than it will take to get to Max.
Yes.
I'm loving it.
No wonder he got kicked off the.
Demonetized. Oh, God.
No Wi-Fi.
Oh, he lost a light.
There's also no light.
I have no light in my eye.
Be right back.